Oh my goodness, it's been a minute since I've been live, and so I want to get into some content information that I had been storing. I got a Juneteenth. I got clips of a mashup from I think it was like the beginning of June that I brought together, and then I have a more recent one. So it's three mashups together on this Drill-A-Thon. Now I'm gonna go all the way in since it's been so long on a conversation that um, we've been, I guess, more adamant for over a year that this conversation be held, and it is a challenge to the traditional, the patriarchal way of living, and that doesn't necessarily mean that I have come to that terms of I'm the femininity guy, the guy who knows femininity, and what I saw in some of my recent, when I finally looked back through my comments, somebody had said I suck at Black woman empowerment grifting. Whoa, well that's different as well. So I'm not there, and my level of understanding, and all I see is the fight that's going on. I see the energy that is being transferred, and with that energy, I wanted to capture just a few of the moments because that message is starting to resonate, that challenge, that pushback, um, that many had, they wanted to silence for so long. That pushback is starting to come forward. And so before I get into any of mine, what I want to do is check the YouTube out for myself and see if the YouTube is actually up. That way, if somebody comes and joins in the chat that does not have, let's say, a wrench, I remember that this is the way. There it is. All right, and got it. This is the way if somebody does not have a wrench, I could go on and do that. And now it has been a minute, so I want to add as a moderator those folks um, who may be new. Managing moderator or standard. Managing moderator can block words, change chat modes, and live also has capabilities of the standard. Standard can review and remove chats. Okay, so we'll go standard. Hey, Mrs. Awesome, and salute. I am my grandmother's rebellion. This will be a bit triggering, so I have to tell you that I do rock with your streams for the chill element, because as you know, when the energy starts going a little bit, wayward as it can, um, we have to take some time out for ourselves, and we have to learn to appreciate that time for ourselves, even if we're in families, committed relationships, if we're not, if we just have our own space where, if you work or whatever it is that you might do with your life, how you live your energy. We know that in the social media space, there are many who want Black women to be silenced about how they experience life, whether it's political, economic, or even just the social dynamics. They want them just to be silenced in every aspect. She cannot have a home. She cannot have an education because the classroom will still want her to be silenced. And if she leaves the protection of her home and goes into the workforce, then that workforce would want her to be silent rather than to be an expressive. And so that kind of mutes a lot of where our energy, and when I say our, I don't want to make myself a part of what the women experience, but as somebody who understands that muted experience. I'm gonna use that word experience a lot today, but being muted or being silenced, that feeling of having invalidation occur in real time. It's not a what do they call it? Microaggressive form. It's not microaggressive. It's, they like to use the words that kind of water it down. Um, but in modern society, what I am experiencing through social media may be, different than what others are experiencing. Um, my hour, I guess, starts to connect with those who say, yeah, I've experienced it in silence, and I no longer want to experience it in silence. And me using my voice, if that's enough to get me discriminated against or banned or shut down, then Yeah, I was silent in taking it, and I know how that made me feel. So if I'm banned for saying it, then that would just be another new experience. And I'm no longer willing to just sit back idly and be silent as silent. There are some principles that do need to be espoused, not just thought. And in a social media space where the message does go from, America and what one black married man might think, and then carry, the words should have some value in them. And so I want to add a little bit of value to this conversation that has been had in the social media space from a very muted lens. That muted lens is the lens that says, are there any men who disagree with the manosphere? Are there any men who disagree with the red pill? And then to take it the next further step, which is manosphere 3.0 or 4.0, are there any men who are still willing to challenge the faith-based institution as it propagates gender-based violence? So I can only share in the we from saying, yes, if speaking out is something that will get even a man shunned, but and I know I said our, like I'm collectivizing all of them, if the women who are bold enough to speak out and to face, being banned, having their economics, there's not just their livelihood, their mental health and their physical attacked for it, then where are those men who have been mute, who feel like this is still wrong, who share in that level of, yeah, I can't just sit back and be quiet while this stuff is still happening. So that's where I'm kind of at with it in my headspace. Hopefully that makes sense. I am pro-black, not anti-white, and that has a meaning for me that may not have a resonance for others. My pro-black means I do think very, very, very highly of black people. The Black American experience for me may be different than, what is it, like 43 million or some odd that have been collectivized as black, that are currently, registered, or like, they count themselves amongst black. And then when we go into the Pan-African paradigm, which I don't want to say that I'm against, but the Pan-African paradigm is doing its part in being a distraction for what Black Americans need. And we knew that it was coming. We knew that it was most likely to be a distraction. We know that we represent some of what the world deems untasteful. And you're going to get that when you start dealing with the people who are no longer going to sit back and be idle and just accept as norm the degeneracy that we've been under. So in my generation, I know that we've experienced the level of normalized degeneracy that should have been traumatizing, not normal. It should have been traumatizing for people to experience as much death, destruction, and I just want to keep it plain by saying gender-based violence, because today that is the most, I don't know if it's precious or sensitive. It's galvanizing. It has legs. I don't know how to say it in the business terms. It has legs. The intellectual argument about gender-based violence and its manifestations today, and how it creates traumas that are deserving of real-time reparations right now, that argument has legs that cannot be diminished with silence. The courage that it takes women to finally come forward and be willing to challenge an institution like the faith-based institution and say, yes, the Bible may have been this bridge for, societies that were dumb, deaf, and degenerate, to find some level of balance, but it is failing as a tool to provide us protection. And so for them being bold enough to say that, that is the challenge that I saw with, like, and I can say who I see it in today as social media content creators, or I can say it historically in Black leaders that were women who led movements, whether they were Jamaican or American, even some Africans as well. It would go a long way. But I got a lot of drill to get into, and I've probably been talking a long time. I checked the chat, and it does look like I am in a good and safe space with folks who already rock with me. Hopefully y'all noticed that my voice did clear up just a little bit. I might hit a couple of high notes on this bad boy just because I feel so good about my voice. My daughter said I sounded like I was like 15 years younger. And I started singing, man. I started hitting high notes, man. I said grown woman vibes would be impressed with the high notes that I am hitting. And so I just may bless y'all with a couple of high notes because hey, we're gonna go through this together. Now, I just so happen to have been on that lens that was like, man, stop talking to these dumb people. Stop talking to them. And so we've had to battle as intellectuals in the B1 network on whether or not it's still worth it to even have these type of conversations in an open public space where they can save it, they can clip out, they can look at our face and just pause it and say, oh, look at this. And they try to make it something that is less fulfilling as somebody, I can take journalism more seriously. I really could. I really could go with the details of the event. This is what happened. He said this, and it would be 8-minute clips just in line of journalism. But no. And I got some loop drills that are prepared they're deep. And so I want y'all to share in that experience with me. Again, I brought them together. They are mashups, which means as social media content creators release their opinions, their facts, their data, their experience to us and share that with us. Sometimes we turn around and take little clips and we allow those clips to be used for conversation in general. And now it's starting to become cyclical because it is a lot of dating, but there are nuances in this dating that have to be pulled out. In my fashion, I'm going to tell you exactly what my opinion is up front because a lot of people do not like to listen to my long diatribes. I will be here for 4 hours with a weak signal, but I'll tell you what my opinion is up front. When it comes to the dating, I've been married a long time and my commitment is solid. And social media can try to take me out of that headspace that reassures me that marriage is the most vital institution. In general, marriage doesn't work for a lot. Is trash. Okay, so it looks like I'm back. Tribe of the long winds, that's me. It did freeze for a second. My signal is trash. It's only giving me 1 bar. It's always been one of the reasons, because when I say I moved out into like the rural area, it's almost rural, but it's like suburban now. They're bringing it together, and we're getting a lot of development out here, which is one of the reasons why I want to do more important content around the real politics and what it takes to be a factor, what it actually means to be a pillar of the community and to actually engage in the politics of society building as a Black man. Again, okay, it's back. So I would like to deal with that, like local level politics, and open myself up to be available with what's happening where I'm at and how do Black people navigate the suburban sprawl politics and ensuring that those spaces are equally as accessible and they have all the amenities that our families need as well, right? A lot of people don't understand federal rights versus states' rights, and they want the Black man to take a more affirmative position where they see him active doing positive and good things. And so I think that might be my position as well. I do what I do, but I don't open that part of myself up. And we have enough people who are willing to open up the parts of themselves that are less flattering about the Black male image. So I don't know. We'll see what works. But today we won't get too much into that. Marriage is solid. And that message is another one of those muted things where it's like, well, if marriage is so solid, where are the Black men who are affirming marriage is solid? Likewise, another muted expression. If our patriarchal society has become so detrimental to the culture of our families and our household, the members, the people that we love, then how is it that we have not burned that cape? That would be my premise. And then now we'll go through the reaction video Drill-A-Thon. I'm glad to have Sister MJ with me. We share the same initials. And Sister MJ, I have to give you a compliment or flowers as well. And when I went to your, I would hear you speak. But when I went to hear you speak without the somebody else gave, a topic, and just to hear you speak, I had already knew where you were with it, but it was so reassuring. And I'll say that to not sound like a simp. In other words, I would say your intellectual prowess you're up there. I think your and Taz debates would be great as well. As he's still a naker in his own right. And so he still has some learnings that he has to do when it comes towards the trauma we've experienced, and how he says intergenerational trauma is not an excuse for today's young Black man. And so we're gonna beat that fool up on that. We're gonna let him get it out for a couple of more days, and then we're gonna beat him up on the intergenerational trauma and how those elements, they may not need to go back to the plantation, but there is so much truth in dealing with families where the patriarchs suffered with substance abuse, where the patriarchs were so under the thumb of King James version of the Bible that they were not just complicit in gender-based violence, they condoned it, they propagated gender-based violence, and therefore today we have a whole lot of our daughters, our sisters, even our grandmothers with very real concerns that protection is, it's abysmal. And so, yeah, we'll need the economic conversation. We'll need the historical ramifications. We'll also need politics today. And so, yeah, we're going to beat Taz up in a minute, but we're going to let him get it out while he's beating on the non-intellectuals, the quacks. We'll let him get that out, and then we'll go there and beat him up. He's ready for it now. Brainy Thursdays is another announcement that I would like to drop. For some people, this is hard for us. Finding a way to actually try to laugh through some of this without becoming a part of the goofyism crowd, because it actually does hurt to bear witness to the levels of degeneracy, but also the levels of, are they really this dumb? And so for us, we would rather just see it on a t-shirt, misspelled, you're dumb, misspell your, Y-O-U-R dumb. And that way, when we see it, we be like, yeah, absolutely. Anybody who's bold enough to correct a t-shirt that says you're dumb and misspelled, sometimes people just need to laugh, because the person who can read the shirt that says you're dumb and say that's misspelled, no, you're dumb, you bought a shirt that, and then they would get it. That's the type of dark humor that we experience, because we actually do have some degree of love for those people who are still connected with us. And that's hard, right? These collective stories do include people in my family who would fall on the other side of my principles and my beliefs. And while I don't want them to feel alienated, like I'm talking specifically to them, I don't agree with the lifestyle. They know it. We argue at the barber shop. We argue at the barbecue. We argue at the family reunion. We argue on the phone when they need money. I bring the shit back up again, but I still cut the check. And so we're going to work on it together with us. And there will be those people who try to come into our spaces with their opinions. I don't have to respect everybody's opinion. We know good and goddamn well there are people with opinions that are deeply rooted in things that we can't explain. I didn't experience the education of a psychologist to go through all the levels of mental whatever it is that makes people think and behave the way that they do, or perceive what they perceive. I don't have that level of education. And for those who do, I reserve a level of respectable intellectual fear for them, for even understanding that that's what people go through. It would be hard to love human beings if you've actually gone through all of the psychological studies of what humans think and how, and now you're talking about understanding why do our men or Black men refuse masculinity and manhood to the extent that we should be protecting each other economically, socially, politically, with everything that we have. All right, now with so much that I had to get off my chest. It's been a couple of months. We have sisters who I believe are fighting a good fight in the social media space using journalism. So their First Amendment right, which is why I always try to say the sisters, and I want to call out that the sisters being bold enough to do it, because if the men were doing it since the 1800s, then our sisters would not have to. Resting in their femininity would be a paradise, but instead they deal with degeneracy even in their homes. And so coming online to have spaces where they can discuss their degeneracy should be a protected space for them. I can support it monetarily, and I can try to help build the membership base for those spaces by contributing in the same ways that the other men would support their women if they needed spaces to talk and vent or just to be in a social club. But I do not have a say-so on what they say. What they say sometimes hurts me. I get daggered when our sisters start talking because it speaks to the pathology that I still at times didn't have a problem with. I did not have a problem telling the young man to be single. And what that meant with being single was also condoning his predatory behavior. So once he turns 18 and 19 and 20, the young man is on his own. Where are those mute men who say yes, but stand on good principle, young man? There can't just be the one or few OGs in the barbershop who are still willing to push back and say, young man, stand on good principle. That's the way that you protect yourself, and that's the way that you can protect your family, your namesake. That's the way that you can start to grow. And the person that you do find will be appreciative of you. The submission that they call it, that you will experience, will be a different level of appreciation for you if you can actually stand on good principle and not allow yourself to be distracted by some of those things that are so freaking infectious. I'm gonna let the sisters drill though. Those are my words as a Black man. I've given more than enough. And so at this point, what I need to do is share the screen so we could jump into this drill. My first drill is a mashup, and I'm gonna tell you what, I don't even want to tell you what it is. You know, Sister Sin G is on there, the Eagle is on there, so salute the Eagle on there. But we also had to bring in a juxtaposition from another Black woman, which would be Six the Goddess, 666. I take some snips out of Cam Newton's, as one is the juxtaposition talking about being married to men, or even having their Black men having their children. And so they go over the report, the Oprah Winfrey, she talked about it. It's, you know, Angry Man. So the Manosphere versus Sin G, that's going to be a classic. Let's recycle this and see if the Black men are actually progressing their conversation, or see if the women are getting sharper. It's B1 Brother Moses. I think that our sisters are whooping they heads. I think that the sisters are whooping their heads. They're getting sharper with their message. The people who subscribe to them, you can find them in any chat, and they're on point with it. Now, some of them, if you try to debate them on it, they may not be as articulate, but the passion that they have behind explaining why the gender war violence is non-tolerable going forward, I think the sisters are winning. And those angry men who want to preserve their right to submission, i.e., they want the state to be out of their business in the home, I think those men are losing bad. They're getting pummeled. And so with that, I'm gonna let the sisters get into it, and then from there we'll see the pivot. It has like a midway point in there where we change over into the actual drill. Y'all will see that how it's been created. So I just hope that y'all rock with it. This drill work style of production, we tried talking nice to them. That didn't work. We tried Big Brother in them. That didn't work. Those expectations were unrealistic. In this argument, I'll say it, the boundaries had to have been set on the internal conference. What do I expect from people? And if I'm going into quack spaces expecting quacks to change, that's why I need a "You're Dumb" t-shirt. So when I look in the mirror, I can see my "You're Dumb" t-shirt going into a quack space thinking that I'm going to change a quack. I do, however, know that if they are presented with the information that is fact, it is on them whether they accept it or reject it. And so that does not mean that I failed. I failed if I remain silent, knowing that I stand on a different principle than them. That's where I fail. And seeing sisters who have the courage to get out of their femininity where they should be resting and protected and to challenge it come what may, economic, whether they gain from it or lose from it, it is still their everything, their essence, their spirit, what they want to do with their time on the line that they're willing to put on the line. So where are those silent men? So I've said it time and time again. Please be sure to smash the like button. If you don't, that's still on you, but the information has to get out. I'm gonna put this in there. Salute grown woman vibes, editing from the clouds. And hopefully my drill game is started to come up a little bit as we edit. But let me share the screen so we could get into it and watch together. These are reactions, and we got time today. Thank y'all for rocking with me. So let me see. Invite or present? Let's present. I'm not presenting the slides yet. We are now going to present my entire screen with the audio. Oops, I didn't put two. Oh, yes, I did. There it is. All right, so this should be pretty good. Do I need to be on the screen? Yeah, I think I do need to be on the screen at least a little bit for the reaction. That should be enough. It's in the wide lens. And once again, the audio kind of, my signal is on 1 bar out of 3. So if it goes out and in, I'll move to a rural area. And so we'll get it in though. And then we'll come back and talk about it. So let's get it.
There's been this landmark study from the Center for Disease Control, which debunked many of the myths surrounding Black fathers. It found that the majority of Black fathers live with their children.
This is laughable. Is because they're telling you that this report is based on a sample of 3,928 fathers from the ages of 15 to 44 between the dates of 2006 and 2010. This could not represent fathers. It couldn't.
Black fathers are more likely to help their children with their homework.
Variation in the frequency of doing that. I want y'all to look at what they say. That nearly every graph says that figure does not meet standards of reliability or precision
compared to fathers of other races.
Variation, and I think I pointed that out the first time I read over this study, but here we are years later doing it again because bandits are still remedial liars who are using a report that they obviously didn't read.
Thank you, sis. If you got robbed, just say that.
And so it's like you have to read this when you have reports like this. If it has a caveat down here and it says the figure does not meet the standards of reliability or precision, then you need to just disregard it.
Media ruining the process of dating and how we set expectations in relationships.
Absolutely, yes.
Ooh.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay, explain.
I think that a few years ago, a relationship was between two people. Okay, what y'all agreed to is what it was. I think
All right, wait, I got to pause right here because if you see, look how close Rico is to 6 right now, man. And I had to do this because this is on the Cam Newton video. And Rico is like, just look how close he is and observe these nuances. Now I'm going to mute back up because it does create that echo, but let's get back into it because that should have me crying though. All right, and then I'm going to take me off the screen so it can go widescreen, but let's go.
Age of social media, like you trying to appease your partner, the podcast people, the YouTube people, and it's a lot of voices in your head. I have clients where they're like, girl, like I'm trying to be with my man, trying to build a relationship, but everything I tell him, he trying to appease the alpha podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to appease the alpha male, like persona. And I think that having so many voices in your relationship, having so
and bandits want to run around and say that this, literally a report that's telling you that their own.
Man, hell no. The minute that she said alpha male, that dude moved over so far, I thought he damn near jumped in the Cam Newton lap. I said, this dude done jumped all the way to hell over there. Man, let me get back to it, though. But so I got to call it out because I brought it together. Yes, there will be overlay because that's the way that my brain thinks. I don't want to hear just one thing at the same time. I can process the juxtaposition. So hold up, is 6 married to Rico? Hell nah, 6 ain't married to Rico. But we're going to let him rock, though. I like the juxtaposition of Sinji and 6 because as we know, one is single and the other one does have a man. And so we'll see some of those nuances brought out in this vehicle before it pivots into the next section. But yeah, I did want to bring that out. When I was watching that video and I saw Rico damn near jump all the way over there, I said, damn, the minute she said alpha male, that dude jumped over there. So that's what's up. But let's go.
So they rather just have the standards of reliability or precision. They want you to take this and say, oh, well, they concluded that black men are the most active fathers. We literally have not saw that.
Have sex whenever she wants.
We literally have not saw that.
She can have a bed mate.
We literally have not saw that.
So many opinions in your personal life. It's hard for two people to come to an agreement. Let alone you got to agree with your person and agree with the whole internet on if it's okay.
But they are telling
Jaleel, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about it.
You know, it's crazy because we was talking earlier about relationships and what it is today.
Okay.
And I honestly feel like social media has really taken over, and more than just relationships.
On reading some of these, and on other one of these, they're saying the figure does not meet the standards of reliability or precision. I want to blow this up a little bit just so I can show y'all. Because I want y'all to see down here where I just blew it up, where it says the little star figure does not meet standards of reliability or precision. You see that down here on it?
Clients where they're like, girl, I'm trying to be with my man, trying to build a relationship. But
where
everything I tell him, he's trying to appease the alpha podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so then you can't take this as reliable data.
He's trying to appease the alpha male.
It doesn't even meet the standards of reliability.
And I think
that's one thing that you need to have when you have data. Your data needs to meet the standards of reliability. This one does not. So bandits can get out my face. And this one says the same thing. This is another table. Figure does not meet standards of reliability or precision. You go down here, another table. Figure does not meet the standards of reliability or precision. You go down to this one. Figure does not meet standards of reliability or reliability or precision.
Ethically, there's a line you just don't cross. I know that's different today.
What's that line?
Like you just don't.
There's been this landmark study from the Center for Disease Control, which debunked many of the myths surrounding Black fathers. It found that the majority of Black fathers live with their children. Black fathers are more likely to help their children with their homework, prepare meals, bathe, and dress their children compared to fathers of other races. So the absent or deadbeat Black father myth that many in America believe is really more like a lie.
Say, we literally have not saw that.
So he.
Now, let me just say, we might have to make a deal.
What's the deal?
Well, let's be honest.
I was wondering.
No, I'm just keeping it a buck.
Say, we literally have not saw that.
Ethically, there's a line you just don't cross. I know that's different today.
What's that line?
There's a point where if you don't have internal morals and ethics as a woman,
we literally have not saw that. I couldn't live
with myself. I could not. We might have to
we literally have not saw that.
What's the deal?
Well, let's be honest. I could not look in the mirror and know that I stepped out on this man and pretend. I'm sorry. That's just me. Maybe I'm old.
If you think she's cap, just raise your hand.
I don't care who thinks I'm cap. I'm not.
No, I've heard you cap.
How? How did I cap?
Well, because you initially.
You let me hear you say whoa. Whoa. You let me hear you say whoa. Whoa. Can it be that? Can it be that? Can it be that? Hell, they be that. Hell no. Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. 1, 2, 3.
Go get you an African man from the continent.
Right.
You would have to understand that the way in which you talk to Black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
Why the fuck is it tolerated? It's not tolerated here. That's what we're trying to tell them.
Well,
it's hard for two people to come to an agreement. Let alone you got to agree with your person and agree with the whole internet on if it's okay.
So Jaleel, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about it. You know, it's crazy because we were talking earlier about relationships and what it is today.
Okay.
And I honestly feel like social media has really taken over, and more than just relationships.
Over here, I want to say this to us, though.
A situation
because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for.
That's high school. High school people are boyfriend,
As
girlfriend.
you
if you
should.
get
That's
no, if you get locked up,
So,
if you're going to be
so
away for 10
anything
years,
serious to you is marriage.
like not
I'm
legal
still dedicated
paperwork.
to you.
I
I
don't
do
not
still
believe
like
in legal
independent
marriage
So
in the United States.
explain,
Again, if it's something like you
legal
violating
paperwork
kids
is marriage.
and stuff,
What's
like
right
I mean,
up underneath
and it's
where we
proven.
are?
I can't. We've had a commitment
Tax
ceremony.
tax evasion.
Like
Okay, let's do
family
tax
court.
evasion. Tax evasion. Okay, good. I swerve.
Let's go. Money laundering.
Money laundering, same thing. I'm benefiting
How long could you wait for
from
that?
whatever that is.
Could you wait
as
10
long
years?
as
Yes or no?
Where you're
yes.
from and work
15
on
years.
your country there.
15
and critique
years.
them.
Yes,
And
hold
worry
it
about
down,
why
Yes or no?
but I'm gonna
70% of
yes,
your
So
country
after
doesn't
15
even have
years, you could
24-hour
not
fucking
see,
electricity.
touch,
That's
be
what you
with
need to go
another
do.
man.
You're
I didn't
absolutely
say
right.
that.
No, you do not
That's the
sit in this
deal.
country that my people
She
built
really
and
gotta like
critique
it.
No,
us.
because
Why
listen,
you sit your
Could you
big
wait
grown
for
ass
a
here
husband
and all
in
you
the
did was
following
break your
situation?
tooth?
Incarceration.
You're absolutely correct.
Could you wait
And
5
I'm glad
years
you
where
do
you
that.
cannot
And that's
touch
why
me?
you have to answer
absolutely.
my
5
question.
years, that's
Because deep
nothing.
down inside,
10
you
years.
know
15
you
years.
violated.
15 past
that I
10 is
worked
going to
in
be a
courts
it's going to be a
and that
struggle.
I've
Okay,
done
thank you.
all
Stop
types
right
of
there.
But
community
tax evasion
service
don't go away
engagement
that
for
way.
with my fraternity.
Same question.
That's my husband. We getting conjugal visits, and then I get to go home. I don't have to clean up after you.
White
I
women,
just get to
with
come
all
see you
women,
in jail.
you should
give
only be
something,
with a
go
black
home.
woman.
I
And
sleep.
you will
Hold on,
say,
hold on,
well,
hold
if you
on.
can't find a good
like
woman
that.
in America,
You're
there's something
well.
in Africa.
Absolutely.
So why
You're
not
well.
teach that same rhetoric to
A
our women?
federal
Like,
case.
I do. You feel like
That
you
sisters
got
all the time go to Africa. He can be.
I know sisters who marry. I just
out of
spoke
state.
I'll
she
travel.
invited
I'll
me to the
travel for
wedding.
my
She just married a
husband's
brother
team.
from the continent.
That's
We'll get to that soon. She gonna travel.
I'm traveling for the husband piece. I'm
I
traveling.
got you.
To
I got
have
you.
these
But
conversations, like,
he's
you know,
in
black
Minnesota.
women this, black women that, but
I don't give a
things
damn what.
cannot
Yeah,
be about.
I'm traveling for the
Okay?
husband piece.
Every time you're having a conversation about what black men need to do, you cannot.
So I
constantly
wanted
be
to
like,
let you
well,
know,
what
oh,
about
I
black
wasn't
women?
talking.
It's just
I was talking to my
counterproductive.
man.
Let the women counsel.
What the
women,
hell
let
is there to
men
get
counsel
mad
women.
about?
I'm with
Now
that
y'all
100%.
watch Nathan. Him. What? Now Nathan is pissed because he came in here to shoot his shot and throw sand in my hair and let me know that he loved me. So now Nathan is fucking furious. Watch this.
Criminal justice system, I think it's a good topic we can segue in.
We can move on.
And, you know, if you got to deal with your man sex, you're more than welcome to.
Look at the salt. Ooh. Look at the salt. He kind of sits there and play with his tongue. You know, I mean, 6, if you got to go, you know, so you got to go worry about your man. Nigga, you bad or no? What you bad? I don't understand. Oh, you big bad. Okay. You so mad. Why are you upset? You so salty. Boy, you can feel the salt. Look at his face. This is the salty nigga starter kit phase, bro. You Lowry salt, boy. Boy, you sea salt. You coarse sea salt. Salty boy. Milk head ass boy. Boy, you mad at the motherfucker, boy. How you mad policing what I'm doing, boy? Oh, I forgot because you is the police, boy. You the police in the salt precinct, boy. Head ass. Correct. And I'm glad you knew that. All right. And that's why you knew not to answer your man did. Head ass. Because deep down inside, you know you violated.
I'm going. I'm telling you,
I have
you buy
seen him
for
down
the
the
kids. Baby, me and you buy for the kids.
I have spoken
Yes,
about it.
ma'am.
I'm not with this world, man, woman, or whatever. I think all black people are too picky. I think we all
Like, that's
we all
honorable.
traumatized.
Like, I'm
we all
not
got PTSD.
stepping out on a man.
And I think
Okay, I'm not gonna be a
relationships
I'm not gonna be a
in
Jody.
2023 is
So
about
I don't know if you
putting
guys
all
know what
on
that
the
is. In the
table
military, I have a
and
lot of
figuring out
clients
who
who are
you
in the
can get
military,
through
and their
life
wives
with
step out on them.
in
They call
spite
it
of
a Jody.
y'all trauma. Make
And
sure you get
usually
with
when they're
someone
deployed,
where your trauma
all my
was
military
toxic
guys, shout out to you guys. You know it's Jody. You know Jody. And
To me, that's what
so
it's about. We're way
it's like a
more aware
normal
now.
thing
Back
that
in
they're
the day,
women.
we just
When
had
they
issues
come back,
going
their
on,
women
and everyone just
are doing all
fought
types
through
of
it and
things,
argued.
like
We're
selling.
at this
So
stage where we
let's
understand about mental illness, personality disorders, so we got to start moving a little bit different. But for me, I've always been on that preference, and I always agree
Deployment,
with
like
that,
that's
is that
honorable.
women ain't got
Like
no
I'm not
business swirling
stepping out on a man. Okay, I'm not gonna be a Jody. So I don't know if you guys know what that is. In the military, I have a lot of clients who are in the military.
No, I've heard you, Kat. And
How? How did I cap?
well, because
If you let me hear you say whoa, whoa. You let me say whoa, whoa. Can it be that?
Feel like
like it's a badge of honor
what's some of the
if a
good
dusty,
businesses that
low down,
government
dirty
contracts always come
married man
available
cheats
for?
on his
Yeah,
wife
industry.
with them.
So IT,
They feel a sense
construction,
of power from that.
lawn
They
care
feel a sense of
services,
control. She
armed
just
and unarmed
gave that
security.
woman supply.
I mean,
Those
most
are
of
your
these, if
top
he's doing something and getting money,
government contracts
you know
on
what
all
he's doing.
levels
So
that
it's
the
like,
federal
stop
government
playing.
will
Like,
always
and so
look
you
for
need to do this.
transportation.
That's not true.
Not
They
all the
always look
time,
for
but why
those
aren't
type
you
of
on your paper?
contracts.
Why aren't you more
Year to
aware?
year.
So it's on me
Like
that if I
heavy.
made vows
Like
with
heavy.
this man,
So I was thinking,
that
this is
am I married?
So could you wait? Research for the interview. I'm like,
So
You
it's
call me,
on
bro.
me that if I made
because I
vows
wanted
with
to
this
ask you
man,
right now.
All right,
that
I get it.
am I married?
So could you wait? Yes.
Am I married or am I just in a situation?
You're in a situation.
Oh, it's just a situation.
How long are you waiting in the boyfriend?
In a situationship, no.
In a boyfriend girlfriend situation.
No.
how long you waiting?
That man
But-
hasn't.
but you've
That
been
man
together-
hasn't. He hasn't made vows
gosh.
to me. He hasn't
I'm
made
like,
commitments
is
to
this
me
the
at a
perfect
level
time now
between
prepare
before
myself
God and
for
man.
this moment when I
So
see
at
the
that
government has to
point,
spend
like
even
that's just a
more
situationship.
than
He
it
hasn't
should
been
have.
serious about
Yeah,
it. Not
so
saying it has to be legal, like
I'm just
like
like,
the government has to
I've
be involved.
already been
But if he hasn't taken
positioning
that step, and
myself
I'm
for
just
all
a
of it, whenever it
situationship.
comes.
Okay, what if he's
The
a
federal
girlfriend?
government
Is the
then
girlfriend a
already
boyfriend? Is that
has
still a
and
situation?
been
Yes,
had
that's
trillions.
not a high
Hold on.
level. That's
Trillion.
high
What's the
school.
difference between
High
1
school
trillion
people
and
are
56 trillion?
boyfriend girlfriend.
It ain't one.
Like
It's
that's not
trillions. You know
mature.
what I'm
That's
saying?
not
So when
next
you get to
level.
a certain
So
level,
anything serious to you is
when
marriage.
the federal government
Not
says,
legal
we're going to add
paperwork.
more
I do
money
not
to
believe
an
in legal
already
marriage.
So
in the
explain,
United States.
explain,
I just
like
smile.
legal
I got
paperwork
nice
is
teeth.
marriage. What's right up under
You know what I'm saying? Just get back and smile because
We've
I've
had
already been in
commitment
that
ceremony.
position.
Like
I've already
we
been in
are
that
a
world.
family.
It
We have
makes no sense when
children.
people
Like
talk about government
that's
contracting
my
like,
that's the
oh,
father of
now
my
you
children.
got
I
So
gotta hold him down.
that
now
person
you need to do this and
that
that.
you're
No,
talking
just
about,
do
y'all
it.
are
You
not
already gonna be set
legally
because they're
married.
not
No.
gonna stop putting. The
How long
government
could you
will
wait for that
never
person?
stop putting money into
As long as
contracts.
as I need
First,
to. As
they
long
will
as
never
it takes.
stop.
So he,
Now, let me just say, we might have to make a deal.
what's the deal?
Well, let's be honest.
I was wondering.
No, I'm just keeping it. I'm keeping it a buck.
As
If
you
you
should.
if you get locked up, if you're going to be away for 10 years, like I'm still dedicated to you. I'm still like, it depends on what it is. Like, again, if it's something like you violating kids and stuff, like, I mean, I and it's proven, I can't.
How long could you wait for your husband or your partner in the following situations? If your partner is incarcerated,
Got a black man, black son, black father. You ain't got to worry about me or who I'm trying to make black men look bad. Get out of here. Proof is in my real life. Get out of here.
It's unintelligent and it's disingenuous.
You would not walk down a back alley with 2 Negroes behind you. Stop.
Hold on.
whatever the situation is,
Okay.
let's say he gets 5 years
Okay.
in prison.
Let me tell you something. Everybody don't got their car broke into, got robbed before. You don't see Negroes walking around here talking about, I hate black men now. Get out of here. Get over it. It's life. I'm here in Atlanta. Do you know who be doing most of the car break-ins in Buckhead? White people. Young white boys. And they, you know why a lot of them don't get caught? Because it looks like a good old American white boy walking around the parking garage. Then you go on ATL Scoop and see the videos, and it's a white guy breaking into cars. Are white people going
Like,
around
I
saying,
can't-
oh,
I'm
white
not gonna
people
wait on
robbing us?
something
No.
Okay. Could you
People
wait?
get robbed.
Let's
I
just
had
say
my car broke into
tax
before people
evasion.
get robbed before it is what it is. That is
10
not a
years.
right to sit and hate your entire race
Because
because some bums robbed you. You got your lunch.
Now,
Okay, so
habanero.
I see the direction
wait
he's
10 years
going
for your
in,
partner?
y'all. I don't know how
yes, I
many
have
of
a
y'all
choice.
have
No,
been
you do have a choice.
following
No.
my
I'm
channel,
saying,
but
I'm saying for the
I
type
don't know.
of person
The real
I
goddess
am.
gang gonna know my
Like,
motto.
Could you wait 10 years?
The real goddess gang
in
knows
tax
my MO
evasion,
know
and
my
he
motto.
was.
Y'all know my
Was
motto.
I benefiting from his tax evasion? Was
The
I
lifestyle.
getting? Was I? My lifestyle was benefited from his tax evasion.
Y'all
Most
know
likely
me. I don't
knew
have an
about it.
indoctrinated mindset. I
And
don't
so
believe in that.
I
Turn the other cheek.
participated in it.
I don't
So
do
I
any
need
of
to
that.
do 10 years.
My
with him.
motto: you go low, I'm going lower. Okay? When you go low, I'm going straight to hell. I'm going underground. Y'all know me. So at this point, I officially think this is funny. Okay? So now I am just like, wow, this man is really losing his mind. So now I'm just going to just plunk him in the forehead.
Tax evasion.
Y'all watch.
Okay, tax evasion. Tax evasion. Okay, yeah, I got it.
You would not walk down a back alley. You know it. You don't live around black people. You live in probably
not
live on a cul-de-sac in a suburb. You don't live around
You
black
are
people.
extremely emotional. Why are you so emotional right now? Like this emotion that you're exuding is indicating a bigger problem that you have. What is it that you are trying to fight or convince us of right now?
Okay, Lapeef, can we do it like this? Can we just do...
Thank you, Six.
She asked a question, then I answer, and then I ask a question. She asked, can we do it just like that for a minute, Lapeef?
15 years.
15 years? Yes, hold him down.
It's yes or no?
But I'm going to be... Yes,
So
yes.
I know 15 years, you could not see, touch with another male.
I didn't say that.
That's the deal.
She really got like a year.
No, because let's
How
be...
long could you wait for a husband in the following situation? Incarceration. Could you wait 5 years where you could not touch?
Now, at this point, I don't believe you need to be using profanity towards me. All right? I have not disrespected you. I have not called you out your name. If you want to take it there to where you're going to start to get belligerent and start to cuss at me, well, guess what? Now the gloves are coming off.
This is a problem in the black community. The only people who restrict my freedom
you said you were in Carlton Banks.
It's not white people. It's not Asian people.
You need to calm down.
Particularly black women.
Your pocket protector is in a bunch.
You niggas commit a lot of crimes and you know it. You are
Your
single mothers and you know it.
suspenders are so tight.
You went park your car in the hood and keep that door unlocked because you know a nigga will take the damn car.
I'm not gonna put you in a locker. I know you have PTSD.
You gotta go on mute. We need to stop
I'm not gonna take your lunch money, and your pocket protector is in a
His childhood trauma just made an apparent.
Carlton, I don't know what happened to you as a kid, but you are safe here.
Whoa. 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 Wait a second. Whoa. Whoa. Wait a minute. Thank you for the super chat, Tamika. She said, watching a man come undone was so tasteless. He was super aggressive and no one checked him. Thank you. And that's why I said we needed a strong, masculine FBA brother on this channel, on this panel to regulate this. Because at this point, I was disappointed that they were allowing this man to be so belligerent towards me. It was completely inappropriate. It goes back to what I spoke about in my book, where us as Black women, we are not seen as worthy of being feminine and being protected. So you can watch a man belligerently be this aggressive towards me, and no one thought to tell him, a strong man needed to check him and say, hold on, brother. You need to gather yourself. You need to lower your voice.
That's my husband. We getting
calm down.
visits.
Imagine him screaming at me in real life like that. Okay?
Hold on. I like that. You're based in Atlanta. A federal case, that means he can be deployed out of state.
I'll travel for my husband's peen.
Hold on, baby. Hold
Oh,
on.
okay.
Let me get you that.
I
got you.
Talk that
But
talk now.
he's in Minnesota.
I don't give a damn where he at. I'm traveling for the husband peen. I would hold my husband.
What you call it, peenie?
Peen. I don't want to say the word. Like, are we peen? I will travel. I will get on that plane for my husband peen. I sure will.
But how long? For how many?
Let me see. I'm trying not to rewind it because I don't want it to start over.
It's like he gets.
Like
so
if you did not
Thursday.
This is what you just
on
said.
Friday, you on the street.
And you gonna walk
No,
off.
hold on. I don't do that.
But I'm
Black, yeah, because you made it black.
That ain't 24 hours. He's still
chaotic. Yes, I'm telling you, they were raised in white boys.
Do you identify as Black?
90 days.
Hold on.
Ma'am,
what's going through your mind in that situation?
I'm like, damn.
Do you think that Black
Okay, I'm gonna give you a different situation.
I have no idea why. You know what? This is what I love about white.
What about the
They don't infringe upon my rights.
He said, you cannot make this
So
up.
if you get stationed,
Thank God for video. Thank God.
multiple years. Nah, baby, you can't go to Ivory.
Yes, you can.
Nah, you
I
can't.
put a hijab and be right in Afghanistan getting it.
That ain't
with
how I
my
said
head
it.
covered.
You can't.
Bitch,
Nah.
I'm going to Afghanistan like this for my husband.
They going.
If the man was incarcerated,
You can do that. You can go to Afghanistan with a hijab on and get your husband peace.
It don't work like that.
Yes, it do.
It does not work like that.
Well, I'm going. I'm gonna tell her meet me in Dubai.
I don't think you can get a visa.
Baby, meet me in
We
Dubai.
brought it back off topic, and we brought it back to money laundering. And he's away for 15 years.
Melanie?
Like, him and I need to have a conversation about
Affordment,
what is
horrible.
this going to look like?
Melanie, okay, my ears work very well. I thank God for it.
I'm a foreigner. He made it about him. It's not about you, sir. I don't give a damn. Because I'm a foreigner and I'm a cop. So therefore, you talking about me. No one was talking to you. Nobody.
I've worked in the Black community for 13 years. My whole family is Jamaican. So based on her logic, what I have to say and what I do is not valid.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm so glad that you get it. I mean, if you wanted to reach for it, you might as well go ahead and catch it. Your whole family from Jamaica. You've invested in Jamaica. All right? What they always say, nobody take care of your stuff like you will. Other people don't care about your stuff. They didn't invest in it. My country. I have multiple generations that have been here as a foundational Black American. I have a very personal vested interest in this country. So yes, my point of view will always be relevant and yours will not. Your family has invested.
Valid.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm so glad that you get it. I mean, if you wanted to reach for it, you mentioned you. I did not speak on you. You see how in his determination to get a conversation out of me, do you see how he reached to make it about him somehow? Well, she was speaking on foreigners and I'm a foreigner, so therefore you speaking to me, so therefore have a conversation with me. Nigga, no, I wasn't talking to you. I ain't trying to have her man hear her in here arguing, okay? Because most men respect other men, but they don't respect women. So now logic think shit funny. Oh, she about to make him a sandwich. Oh, now it's funny. Okay, when you just was disrespecting me, lying on me, now all of a sudden it's ha ha kiki. Look at the salt. Woo! Boy, this
when I go to Texas,
boy,
I always feel it.
This right here is
I'm supposed to be here.
The salty. This is the Jordan crying face equivalent. Okay. The face that he making right now. This is 100% Jordan crying face.
Since I'm Black, it might
reload
be even bigger than Jack Nicholson.
Bro, you are so salty. It is absolutely ridiculous, and he'll never admit it. Okay, he'll never ever admit it. But boy, the level of salt, boy, look at his face. He's like, oh, okay. So you just got a man, huh? Oh, all right. Okay. All right.
Little piece and got my
if she just did that, go make a sandwich for her man and get off the panel. I don't understand why she just won't do that.
No, bro, come on. Let her be, bro. Let her be. Let it be.
The reason why I think it's interesting is because the reason why I think it's interesting is because I'm also a foreigner and I've worked in the criminal justice system. So based on her logic, she's basically saying that my statements aren't valid either and I can't speak.
Okay, do y'all see the reach there? I keep my nigga, I didn't say nothing about you. I did not mention you. I did not speak on you. You see how in his determination to get a conversation out of me, do you see how he reached to make it about him somehow? Well, she was speaking on foreigners and I'm a foreigner, so therefore you speaking to me, so therefore have a conversation with me. Nigga, no, I wasn't talking to you. I'm not sitting here having no dialogue with a Jamaican police. I'm not wasting my time. I'm not doing it. It's not happening.
The out family, you already know.
Black food vendors was getting paid. The black juicers was getting paid. Okay, and then the lecturers that were Black were getting paid. The promoter with the Sinetta was Black was getting paid. And we were demonstrating something in the community.
But polite. Right now, they don't care about none of that. That's what the people is gonna say. We don't care about none of that. Hey, I'm sorry to cut you off, polite, but I gotta go, y'all. Yo, I got to be out. I got to be out, family. You already know. All you got to do is click on my channel right now. Peace, Brother Play. I appreciate you coming in. I will see you on the 8th. I'll see you. But family, everybody, all you got to do is refresh your page.
All right, man, I got to come back in on that one. Because the dude said, I will see you on the 8th. He was supposed to have his hearing on the 7th. And he was like, I will see you on the 8th. So it sounded like they had some big plans in place. You know what I'm saying? And it was supposed to have been the July or the polite 10th or whatever. So now they pushed it back one more month. I'm going to cut in right there just to put that update. MJ says, remember everyone, September 7th, justice will be served. And then we're going to get back into the content. So thank y'all for rocking with me. Those who are still in the chat, B1 salute, Lilith's Revenge, MJ, Empress. Man, y'all keep this thing rocking, and I appreciate y'all. Be sure to hit the like button. This is One Brother Moses, and we are on our Drill-A-Thon. Let's go.
I'm exiting out. Come on, I'm live right now. I'm live with Brother Ali Muhammad.
What fraternity are you in? You ain't in no real nigga fraternity for sure.
Community. I don't care about what happens in rural white communities, in Asian communities. I'm not Asian. I'm not white. I care about Black people. I don't have to worry about white people gunning me down or doing anything to me. That's Black people. So what I'm saying is that I have solutions on the Black
Y'all think
problem.
he a Sigma? Yep,
And
that would be it too.
When I said I wasn't been listening to the entire show,
Yes,
one of the problems is that Black people should embrace conservatism. Conservatism being going back to how Blacks were in the past.
The only going back you need to do is going back to Nigeria. That's where you need to go back to. Since you know so much and you're so educated, why don't you go back there? Black, you're going to come here and tell us what we need to go back to? Are you kidding me? The disrespect. And we as foundational Black Americans need to be the gatekeepers of our own respect. This is disrespectful.
The importance of nuclear.
If you know so much about what needs to be done, go implement that where you come from and get some fucking electricity 24 hours a day. Period.
Families.
Wrap it up, bro. It's time.
Yeah, I got you.
You ain't got electricity for a light bulb to write down a train of thought, but over here telling us what we need to do. And your parents got on a boat and left.
The importance of not doing drugs and alcohol, and the importance of women, especially being domestic. Even if we just did those little snippets, we would be a step closer to eliminating a lot of the social ills in our community. But 60 Goddess didn't want to hear that from me. She came on, where your mom, who your mom, where they from?
You see how he lying?
The fuck up.
Yo, Taz, go suck a dick, nigga. You hang out with Sotomayor, you bitch ass nigga, and he got a record. Shut the fuck up.
Taz, I didn't know you gonna come at Sonnet, man. I thought you gonna.
Taz, shut the fuck up. You hang out with Sotomayor, and that nigga got a fucking case.
I never made a plea, and I never plead to no fucking molestation, King.
Of a victim being involved in this allegation. No, see, that's what I'm saying to you. Of a victim being involved in this allegation. No, see, that's what I'm saying to you.
I don't know why anybody's taking their villainy out of Sarnetta at all. Sarnetta didn't touch this girl. Sarnetta didn't do no. One second, let me finish.
Damn, because I really want to build with Rob Bourne.
Don't swear, me and Rob Bourne are on the same page with this shit here.
And I'm on the same page.
Hey, brother, can you just man?
No, when you chill out, what's wrong with you, man?
Are you a grown man? Are you a grown man?
Yes, I am.
Okay, then don't act like a child. Let's talk like men, brother. Let me talk, then you can speak.
I apologize.
I think what Sarnetta can do is give us something. If you imagine, we never really had. The only thing I'm gonna trust Sarnetta with is that he gonna have to do a real interview. He can't pussyfoot with the interview. He's gonna have to ask all the questions that everybody is gonna want. And I think we're entitled to that, especially with the type of case that he has, the background this cat comes from York background.
Because that's not the
and he's going to
narrative
jail
that they
for
want
the same
out.
thing. York
I'm
going
going to
jail,
say
same
it
type
one
of
more
shit.
time.
And so if Sarnetta comes in and asks those tough ass questions,
guilty
we can't fault it. I think it would
for
be a superb
molesting
job. Now,
a
if he don't
baby,
come in,
a
now Sarnetta
child.
come in there, he
His ass need to be
the
put
questions and
under
interviews
the
that he gonna
jail
ask, then that's
next
something
to
we charge
Dr.
him.
York
Sarnetta has
and
every
throw
right
away
to
the key.
see it
Therefore, I
for the
said
black
it again.
community, but nobody
But they
should
didn't
be
hear
I
it.
agree.
That shit
I
really
agree
is
100%.
because we got to
Nobody
find
should
a
be
way
charging or treating Sarnetta like he
connect
did it. He could have touched an
Polite
underage girl, and he has
to
nothing to
Sarnetta.
do with it. He wasn't even polite in that fashion. So we need to leave Sarnetta alone, let him do his fucking job. But Sarnetta, you just gonna have to act for it. That's the only thing I would charge Sarnetta with.
I agree with you on that, Captain, for real.
You know what I'm saying? If you let him get away with like how many? No, we never got a Kelly interview. We never even got a York interview. This cat did this shit. I want to get into the psyche. Like, this is a brother that has wives, he has fame, he has all of that. What type of psyche allows you to put yourself in that position? So that's what I'm looking for. So I only came in because they was getting on side, and nobody should be getting on side in this type of advice. So I didn't even listen to me when I said, let's wait till the trial is over before we even do anything with it. And he put that shit on hold, and he honored it. So Sarnetta wasn't even a greedy nigga like y'all try to paint him out to be when he still try to fuck with Polite before the trial was over. So let's not smash on him, bash him like that, and let him do his job. I'm done. Rob Bourne, I stand.
I concur with 100%.
Hold on, my fraternity and with other social organizations that I've been a part
He probably, what fraternity y'all think he is? He definitely a Kappa. Okay? He definitely the softest fraternity. He's definitely a Kappa. They let anybody in. You a Kappa for sure.
Check. We got to find a way to connect Polite with Sarnetta. Here's the thing, y'all. I told y'all that I speak to Polite damn near every week or every 2 weeks because I am interested in finding out what the hell is going on. So therefore, I already got the inside information. I already knew about this shit. Listen to me when I tell you. I knew about this shit. I knew about what was going to happen. Y'all just finding out, and that's why it's crazy to y'all. Ask Zoriak if I knew about this already, because I speak to my people. So I already knew what was going down. I knew what was going to happen before it happened. I know what he copped out to. Y'all don't know what he copped out to. Y'all don't know what he pleaded guilty for. Once again, I am here not to defend this motherfucker. I'm not here to cape for Polite, but I'm telling you shit that I know that none of y'all know. And so therefore, I agreed. Polite don't really want me saying anything until the 7th. On the 7th, y'all, that's when Polite is going to come out. He's going to come to my platform and let the world know what the fuck is going on.
Hey, Taz, you got 2 minutes, bro.
Don't apologize. Keep it.
2 minutes. Go ahead, Taz.
Okay, so yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, bro. So y'all making it sound like he didn't just have Polite on his shit in February, while Polite was already looking forward to this motherfucking trial. So I don't know why we pretending like he ain't been fucking with the nigga all this time. So
Hey, yo, Taz,
shut the fuck up.
Yo, Taz, go suck a dick, nigga. You hang out with Sotomai, you bitch ass nigga, and he got a record. Shut the fuck up.
Taz, I didn't know you were going to come at Sarnetta. I thought you were going to...
Taz, shut the fuck up. You hang out with Sotomai, and that nigga got a fucking case.
Point, I was disappointed that they were allowing this man to be so belligerent towards me. It was completely inappropriate.
Your role in that, how you handle the situation. It just shows that you were not really ready for that responsibility. That's what it was showing.
You fucking with the nigga who don't give a fuck about your platform, nigga. You niggas lied. I told you motherfuckers Marcus Garvey never went to Africa. You niggas said he did. You some frauds, nigga. You niggas sat up there to win a fucking debate and lied. So you lost all integrity with me anyway.
To be these people that have certain level of information. So you'll have this information, the contact, and I go and join whatever Ali Muhammad's for.
Family, you already know.
Black food vendors was getting paid. The black juicers was getting paid. Okay, and then the lecturers that were black were getting paid. The promoter with the Sinetta was black was getting paid. And we would demonstrate something in the community. But
polite, right now, I don't care about none of that. That's what the people are gonna say. Chat, we gotta find a way to connect polite with Sinetta. Here's the thing, y'all. I told y'all that I speak to polite damn near every week or every 2 weeks because I am interested in finding out.
For the rumors, you'll know the truth when the false settles. That's a music scheme.
That's what the people is gonna say. We don't care about none of that. Hey, I'm sorry to cut you off, polite, but I gotta go, y'all. Yo, I got to be out. I gotta be out, family. You already know. All you gotta do is click on my channel right now. Peace, brother polite. I appreciate you coming in. I will see you on the 8th.
You'll know the truth when the false settles. That's a music scheme.
But family, everybody, all you gotta do is refresh your page. I'm exiting out. Come on, I'm live right now. I'm live with brother Ali Muhammad.
And I ain't the guy that provoking. Don't be the guy that I smoke.
I agree with Brother Lie. I agree with Captain Tazari. Bro.
Hey, man, I don't agree with that shit, bro. Can I speak for a second, my nigga?
Why are you cutting me off, bro?
Yo, Taz, you can't cut off nobody on my channel, bro. You know better than that, bro.
If this was anybody else in there, you best believe.
These niggas cowards, but
best to believe reporters and everything.
Well, look, he muted me and put me in the back, right? So I just, quietly waited.
Will be out there and getting these interviews. I'm not agreeing with none of this shit. I don't know why I gotta keep telling y'all niggas that. I don't agree with this shit. I don't agree with none of it. But I want to get a reason. Why did you plead it out? Why did you say you guilty? What's all this about? And we want these answers. We want the questions.
Bitch, I want answers though from you. See what I'm saying? Cause like I say, man, man, this shit's surgical, fam. Like, my shit different. You're gonna see. You're gonna see why motherfuckers gotta kick me off and put me in the back. They're fucking terrified.
I'm the type to make your fiance my whore. My blood niggas putting beats up like Beyonce on tour.
Shit that you posted, once my people sent the nigga that is defamation of character.
Hey, look, listen, yo, sorry, now to check it out, bro. Check this out. We're gonna talk this. I mean, not sounding polite. We're gonna talk. I'm a street nigga. I know niggas you fuck with. Niggas you call me with you, right? They right with you. Hey, on some real shit, fuck the streets. On some man shit. Nigga, for you to be called to be having a conversation about defamation of character, right? I think Sinetta gonna agree. Hold on, bro. I think Sinetta gonna agree. I thought you was gonna get on the phone and say, you know what? This what that is, this what that ain't. But for your motherfuckers concerned as a black man, listen, as a black man, to be talking about defamation of character, the motherfuckers been watching this shit go on, and it's a 14-year-old girl involved, and they talking about his semen and all kind of other shit, and bestiality and all kind of weird shit going on, and you not want to address that, right? It's a real suspect, bro.
That's not true, brother. So now let me
say what I was
real quick. Can
you cop a plea?
Did you see where I was going? Please.
Okay. All right, go ahead, homie.
Okay, brother. So this is what I was going to tell you. You took a post from somebody, right, that was lying. When he got caught on it, and we told him, bro, my people reached out to him like, listen, that's misinformation. I never made a plea, and I never plead to no fucking molestation. Okay? So, you took it, right? Guess what he did? Hold on, real quick. The most important part. You took it and posted it. But guess what he did? He took it down. So, all I was going to say is,
I'm asking you,
check this out.
Are you still in court? You guilty or what?
The paperwork.
Because
how could he be lying to me when the paperwork is going to be available for everybody to see? I first told him, that's one of the first things I told him. I said, bring your paperwork, show your evidence, show everything. We want to see what your paperwork is.
You do the court in June, we've been following it, right? Court date, we've been following your ass the whole time. I got people assigned to your shit. You want to see, because if you didn't fuck with a kid, right, I'm going to be real. For you to be on your social media flashing Rolls Royces and shit is weird as a motherfucker right now.
It's not weird for me because I ain't a guilty man. So all I'm telling you is just be careful when you repost somebody's misinformation because other people going to behave and respond differently. I was just reaching out to you as a brother. Like,
well, he on some full of shit, I'ma call it. He been a scammer, and now he's scamming the ones closest to him, making them think he ain't about to go down.
Well, we're going to find all of this shit out, and I'm not caping for him. I'm not trying to defend him. We're going to all find out what happened. If the nigga's guilty for any of that, then he deserved to be locked up and put under the jail. But I will get the interview. I'm not stupid. I know a lot of y'all think I'm dumb. I know a lot of y'all out there think I don't know what the fuck I be doing. That's what y'all think. Oh, I'm smarter than Saw. Saw don't know what he doing. No, I know it's a personal, and you should be upset, Smash. There's a personal gripe and beef that you have with Polite. And to me, check this out, y'all. Think about this.
You men behave and respond differently, bro. Ain't you a crip?
Because other people will be talking about suing and all of that stuff.
Look, don't shoot no subs at me, bro. Because you's a bitch ass nigga. Homie, hey, look, don't you be with my homeboy out of Louisiana? On Paru, I'm always in Miami, dog. Don't send no subs, dog. I'm not no debater. Don't sub me about because what you trying to say is people will react. And I don't give a fuck about no people reacting. Because you're a fucking pedophile, dog. Straight up. And if you want, I'll be coming to Miami. Do you want to holler at me when I come to Miami? Listen, bro. Do you want to holler face to face? Because that shit you said, look, nigga, I'm not no fucking rapper. So that shit you just tried to say.
What about her? Chat. We gotta find a way to connect Polite with Sarnetta. Here's the thing, y'all. I told y'all that I speak to Polite damn near every week or every 2 weeks because I am interested in finding out. To me, it's like y'all fucking praying and wishing that he did something to that little fucking girl. Instead of saying shit like, damn, I hope he didn't really do that to that baby. I hope he didn't do that to that girl. That's where I'm at with it. I'm saying, man, I hope you ain't do that shit Polite to that girl. I told y'all that I speak to Polite damn near every week. He did it. He did it to the baby. What about her?
And Sean.
Yes.
Regardless of whether we think he pulling a scam or not, at the end of the day, House of Conscience is going to keep rolling like it's been going for years.
Other people will react. Fuck your people. And whoever stand with you is a bitch. Now, I'm coming to Miami in a couple days. On Paru, we can pull up wherever you want and holler face to face. That way is mean. Whatever a nigga say that a nigga don't like, a nigga can address that, bro. Don't shoot no subs, nigga, because I'm not no fucking Israelite and I'm not no fucking debater, bro. I heard that shit. You did, nigga. You did, nigga. Stay in your face with me, my nigga. Hey, look, bro. Look. Do you want to holler face to face? Because I can come to Miami. It's a 5-hour trip. I got a team down there, my nigga PK, that guarantee my safety, and we pulling up wherever you want to pull up, and we can holler face to face.
Yeah, I got you. I ain't call you on the Twitter.
Hey, look. Hey, listen.
I didn't call you on that.
I'm asking you, nigga, you trying to sub, nigga. I'm asking you, hey, look, bro. If you want to holler,
I don't want to see you on no negativity. I already got negativity going on in my life.
On my phone,
I don't reaching out to tell you that the nigga took his post down.
You got an obligation to the conscious community to do what's right. And I'm going to leave it like that, nigga. I'm out.
And I'm just one of many people that they do this to. I'm not good at it. I'm going to use those resources to do what I'm good at. I'm not going to do that. This is not that. So as much as you want the entertainment, hey, put this person on, put that. The people that tell me put these guys on the lives, no, because these are not the guys that you can talk to.
I told her I don't like to kiss stop. So if I do liquor, it's hypnotic, and I don't need to rob, I get profit.
It's cool to come over your house, but I need a house like this. Yeah. It's cool to ride on your yacht, but I need a yacht like this. It's cool to ride on your jet, but I want a jet like this. And I said, no, I don't want to ride on yours. You show me how to get it. You can't be my friend if you can't show me how to get it. Because once they show me how to get it, then I can install it in my children. Then it trickles down.
It's a bloodline thing.
Yes. So it's about wealth.
Tell me. And I'm like, tell you what, I really don't know what he's talking about. And so before he tells me that, he was like, he just did the interview with No Jumper, the debate with Richard Spencer. He wants me to do the debate, be prepared for this white guy. I'm like, bet. So when he brings up, so when he keeps talking about it, now I know that about the polite shit. So then I said, you talk about the polite shit? He was like, yeah. I said, I ain't even think y'all followed that. So when he brings up the polite thing, I run everything down, run the audio. So he puts up a post on his Instagram. So when I went on his Instagram, which is still up there, this is his Instagram. Brother Polite, please guilty. First, Wack texted me to come in there. Wack asked me about it. One thing we definitely agree is we don't mess with no pedophiles, because if y'all just go through the timeline, Polite got arrested for this charge in August of 2021. He did one live stream about it and has not said nothing whatsoever. Nothing that I know of, publicly anyway.
I told y'all that I speak to Polite damn near every week or every 2 weeks because I am interested in finding out what the hell is going on. So therefore, I already got the inside information. I already knew about this shit.
When Wack puts that post up, Sanetta's calling me now. I goes to sleep, so we talk about it. I brought Doggy Diamonds in because Doggy Diamonds has a history with the cat. So we talking about it for a few. I send Wack the audio of the court case. I said, so here you can have the audio of the court case, so you can have where everybody is getting it from. So we're not making this up from some slander perspective. This is what the audio is saying. I give that to him. I go to sleep. So I wake up. So I see I got like 3 or 4 missed calls from Sarnetta. So I call Sarnetta. I call Sarnetta. Sarnetta says, now Polite is asking him if he knows how to get in touch with Wack. This is why it was good, because I believe when Wack put it up, now Polite is like, okay, I can't really nip this under the bud, because Polite still has access, or has been having access, to all of these celebrity people. You know what I'm saying? And they may not know about, Polite's background, because if it could be something that you're able to hush. And I would say it seemed like it, because I don't know if people would mess with somebody that has that type of charge on them. And so now when Wack brings it up, now it's to the forefront. So he tried to call Wack, trying to explain to Wack. I guess he wanted Wack to take the post down. But the way he said it to Wack was like, if my people see it, it's gonna be a problem. So like when you say some shit like that to Wack mind go, well, fuck your people or some shit like that. I could be in Florida, blah, 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 blah. So Polite try to, say he ain't on that type of time, but he presented that type of time. So now Polite's been talking about it ever since. So I believe now he's talking like, this is about my family, this is about this about that. But I think he's only doing it now. He could be doing it for a few reasons. Maybe he looking at it as a financial come up, because he talk about some this a Tasha K situation and shit like that. This ain't no damn Tasha K situation.
It's not a Tasha K situation with Cardi B. But maybe he looking at it like that, or he looking at it like, damn, everybody's gonna know about this because Wack, who's a popular guy, I don't know what he wants to be called, celebrity, because he's a media manager, like he's a mogul out there. So because of that, now it's like it's getting unwanted attention because now everybody gonna see it.
That's nothing to be played with, bro. But it's picked up so people got killed over information. That shit is serious.
So much fire.
Like, so it's like, yo, like you were supposed to be like I said, like the white man. There's allegations, and I would even have a female talking about it in the whole situation.
The other thing, you got golf.
Say, you know, yeah, this is the allegations on polite, and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And until further notice, he is not allowed on time on TV until further notice. You know, you want anything about the situation, you can't polite about the actual situation in itself. But according to reports, it's being said that he's been accused of such and such crime. And on this platform, we in no way, shape, or form any type of action.
Everything doesn't have to be on social media. Nah, it don't sound like it's long position. It sound like that's what I'm saying. That they're expecting them to accept.
Like, why does somebody
the only thing they're doing is mitigation. That's what it sounds like. I'm not a court expert.
That type of shit.
I don't go to court.
I thought you said that. Meanwhile, the dudes that's in the goddamn in your jail
for nothing. The most I've ever
that you saying it around, they gonna be front and center.
I've never been to jail.
They gonna be watching that shit like, oh shit. And guess what else, brothers and sisters?
That was presented to
if I do the interview
at
7 o'clock,
July 7th,
and finish the interview
so we gonna
at
see.
9
That's
o'clock,
what I'm saying. Maybe he's saying he
by 10 o'clock,
maybe he gonna go to trial.
It's gonna be on damn near 100 goddamn stations.
Then we'll
Am I lying, y'all?
What happened?
Am I lying, y'all?
Hey,
it's going to be on damn near
no plea deal if you're innocent.
100 channels because people are going to cut it, splice it, and do what they want to do with it. I don't give a damn.
You let me say whoa. Whoa. You let me say whoa. Whoa. Can it be that? Can it be that? Call the cops. Can it be that? Will they be there? Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up.
Man. I'm not going to lie. Tyrann got the best matchmakers in the business. You ain't fought nobody, man. You haven't beat anybody undisputed at 140. Who you fought at 135, and who you fought at 147. Even you fought Sean Porter. Even Sean Porter said,
"What did I do to Sean Porter?"
And you defended him.
Porter said, even
and
said
it's sad,
he did not
instead of
like
just, you know what I mean,
he didn't do the things
saying that, you know, that's fucked up.
And again, I've said the same thing consistently. So
people keep saying that. I think this is professional.
No, he wasn't brought.
It's just more professional, bro. Like, it's just like that.
Yeah, that's how I got
like, you got a lot of people watching you.
What does it matter? Damn, nigga.
Oh, I got trials in.
2 minutes. Go ahead, Taj.
I got 2 minutes.
Okay, so yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, bro. So y'all making it sound like he didn't just have Polite on his shit in February, while Polite was already looking forward to this motherfucking trial. So I don't know why we pretending like he ain't been fucking with the nigga all this time. So
hey, yo, Chaz,
shut the fuck up.
Yo,
nigga.
Chaz, go suck a dick, nigga. You hang out with.
Them 2 minutes went quick, didn't they? You know what I'm saying?
Like, put him in the back for cutting me off. See, it never happens like that for Taz, fam. That's why I'm the motherfucking GOAT. These motherfuckers don't never want it with me, nigga. I close shit out. They don't want it with me.
Hey, Taj, go ahead, man. You got 2 minutes.
Don't apologize.
2 minutes. Go ahead, Taj.
Okay, so yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, bro. So y'all making it sound like he didn't just have Polite on his shit in February, while Polite was already looking forward to this motherfucking trial. So I don't know why we pretending like he ain't been fucking with the nigga all this time. So
hey, yo, Chaz,
shut the fuck up.
Yo, Chaz, go suck a dick, nigga. You hang out with.
Now look, I get kicked off. Taz gets kicked off. And he gets to keep going, but listen to what this motherfucker said.
Calm down.
I'm not gonna be. I'm
This
this shit.
off the train today. What is going on? Hey, Todd, go ahead. You got 2 minutes. Don't apologize. 2 minutes. Go ahead, Todd.
Okay, so yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, bro. So y'all making it sound like he didn't just have Polite on his shit in February, while Polite was already looking forward to this motherfucking trial. So I don't know why we pretending like he ain't been fucking with the nigga all this time. So
Hey, yo, Chaz,
shut the fuck up.
Yo,
nigga.
Chaz, go suck a dick, nigga. You hang out with Solemai, you bitch ass nigga, and he got a record. Shut the fuck up.
Told a story of when he was in jail, he saw one of his enemies, and
that nigga got a fucking
got
case.
into a squabble immediately, and he got beat up. He admitted to losing the squabble.
No doubt,
Does he lose points for admitting to losing the squabble?
No. He don't lose no points. Shit, he squabbled. Let me tell you something. It's the niggas that don't squabble that y'all don't hear about. Yeah. It's the niggas that talk their way out of shit. It's niggas that try to talk loud and act like they real tough. Cause that shit don't scare none of me. Only thing to me, you know, when niggas start talking loud, I'm scared. Be live talking. Bitch trying to call some help. Cause we gonna do look. I tell you, look, I tell what you want to do. You ready? You ready? That's my thing. You ready? No, I'm just trying to say, cuz, is you ready? Cuz, quit all the talking. Is you ready?
No, see, that's what I'm saying.
And hold on, nigga, I'm trying to tell you what I'm trying to tell you. Cuz, I don't want to talk no more, hoe ass nigga. Shut up talking to me.
Chapel, he kept doing this like this through the window, like, and I knew. And then that's when I realized when I heard Jack, when he came out the thing, he said, Squabble Grove on West Side Hoover, Squabble Grove. When a Hoover say they're going to groove you, that means they're either going to knock you out, they're going to punch you to sleep, or they're going to chip you. So then the fight happened, and Cub come. So when I'm out there on Huston's, I come on my shirt, I'm waiting for Cub come, and I realized that Cub had proper training. He stretched. Oh, he stretched. He's treated it like a real hood. He wrapped his hands up, and once it started fight squabble, I'm like, all right, come on, let's just don't keep swinging. On Huster Cut tired me out. On neighborhood crib. And then that's when Cut came with just a couple vicious punches. The chin called neighborhood crib the temple, and then Cut hit me somewhere right here. Cut, I couldn't breathe. I fell. I said, Cut, you hit hard as fuck.
What's up? I gotta do something first.
Come on, bro. Garfield said that's not hating. Well, hit the panel, Garfield, when you tell me what it is. Garfield said it's not hating. Well, Garfield, if you bring him in your chat, don't you know that is still interviewing him?
The Polite, it looks like he's lying. He said he hasn't pled to anything, but let's play this information from what happened to Common Sense, and then we're going to come back.
They only want something negative to say. If they can get on here and say, I called him a biatch, and I told him, mother effer, I'm here for the community. You're not. If they could postulate like they're someone who cares about you all, while at the same time undermining my intelligence and disrespecting me, right? That's all they need so they can upload that.
Tony, the closer guy, he posted.
And on to the next personality that they got to go destroy. And when things cool off, and you start going to come right back to the brother Polite thing and keep that going. So I'm not going to allow these people to attach their names to it.
Okay, hold on. Let's get you guys in tune.
Contribute to the same.
Tony the closer.
They could attach themselves to me,
His name is Tony
but I refuse to attach myself to them. So if you want to hear about them and me, you got to go over there.
I pled guilty.
Because over here is about my views and my opinions about real situations, and life, things about me, my concerns, our concerns. But I don't want to use another man's personality as leverage to build my platform.
Now,
Not into that. It's not going to be on the platform cursing, yelling,
another
calling
clip
people
from
out
a
their
YouTuber.
names. Not going to do
like
that.
the guy. His name is What Happened to Common Sense.
So if I have to be my protector, then that's what I'm going to do. And if y'all don't like that, then you should probably stop letting these things be instilled in little black girls when they're little like I was, and we grow up learning that motherfuckers ain't gonna protect you. Life is hard, and if you don't stand up for yourself, this world will eat you alive. If you want us to be submissive and be girls and be feminine, then let us be the girls that we are and stop fucking raping us and molesting us, black men. Y'all have a good night.
Right.
That's pain speaking, though.
Right.
Because most black women know they will never get a man. A black woman can have sex whenever she wants.
Right.
Because she's beautiful. She can have a bed mate, but to have a soul mate, she may never get.
Thank you. I thought I captured it from the duality one in the Drill-A-Thon. We got another one that's coming, but that one gave me chills, especially how it ended with with Michi X. Oh my God, it gave me chills at the end. And the black church on Instagram, when I saw that family that was singing, the black family that was singing in their car, it gave me that Southern Baptist feel. Like anyway, so hey, y'all know what it is, man. We got some more. I gotta load that one, but I gotta give it a little bit of time to breathe. Plus some from the Tribe of the Long Winds. Let me stop my screen share. And then let me load up this other one in the background because that one was pretty heavy. Let me know what your thoughts are on section 1. Section 1 did have additional content that we could have added. It would have went way down the rabbit hole that some people may not expect it to go down, like the full extent to which these people in the background are acting. Hold on, let me do something else because that is gonna have to see. I got my my background thing up, but the joke isn't always on me, so I could take that down for a second. Virtual background, that's what it is. What if I blur? Oh, okay. Well, the blur is all right, but you really can't. But all right, man, there you go. In any event. All right, so hopefully y'all can hear me now and we good. Whew, Journey with Karen, thank you. All right, so the next one, let's see. That one, I do want to give shout outs to Six the Goddess, and she was featured in that because she does give a juxtaposition of women who are willing to support a man through a lot. And she did make it clear that that would be for her husband. And what we saw is that even in her interactions in the social media space is that there are men who would want to assume that they have that privilege with women who are not their wives, they're not family, they're not sisters. And that is what happens when we blanket blackness and just give that pro-black a blanket, everybody's accepted type of attitude. And that unity does not really exist. I believe that that is a dangerous precedent to just assume that it is all love. And even when it comes to, okay, people can peel back that first layer and say, okay, all skin folk aren't kinfolk, but what about energy? Because sometimes it does take a panel or something offline separate to actually get somebody's energy. And so through different examples and allowing energy to clash in certain ways, I did want to actually capture some of that emotion there as well. That while you could, at one sense, want to do the right thing by Black women and help them in their empowerment journey to identify what it is they need, the idea that she drew clear was that divesting, I believe, and she may not say divesting from Black American men and pursuing somebody who's a non-ADOS or non-FBA. She may not say it all like that, but her divestment may not necessarily entail white man or Asian man either, though. But at least I believe I heard in what she was saying is that in her message, divesting from this notion that everybody gets blanket protection is out the window. So if there was any dynamic theme that I was trying to draw out with that and Eagle, then, who led it off against the angry man, Eagle primarily will not debate them unless they want to give her $10,000. So that is an economic decision that does have the social ramifications that many people talk about. And why should she accept anything less when those streams do have the potential to do a lot with people taking clips and segments out and then framing it however they want to frame it? With that being said, I think there was an argument to be made in how she broke down the actual report and was saying she did not see that. And the report itself from the CDC and how even Oprah Winfrey can be used as a platform for misinformation. Once that report and the statistics and the data were analyzed, the report itself said it was only 3,600 some odd in its example. And so because of that, I think that many people may not stick around for long information data set. How do we come to these conclusions? But in any event, the drama sells. So if we add in the drama as a layer, then maybe they might listen a little longer. And finally, once we move from the feminine energy first to the more masculine energy, when men try to address the issue on the protection of women and children, we see the issue finally being brought to the forefront, which is an example of Black excellence in journalism, to make them address 16 to 18 and how they sexualize and sexually exploit 16 to 18 as a part of their what is considered grown. Okay? And so with that, we want to transition to the next one, but there's some flavor and some context that I wanted to bring out. Words like salty, and when they start pushing back and start clowning, there are some women who don't play that clowning game who are still attracted to learning how to push back at that level of honesty. When they want to reject somebody outright and personal and upfront, how can they do that with their words, not just with their body language? Right? And so not everybody's ready to go open camera and have a conversation like that in public, so they won't transition well. But we saw when Six the Goddess was brought into a space where they were talking openly about relationships, she transitions very well because she's also photogenic. Whereas the Black manosphere, as we have seen, they meet a physical and a whatever stereotype of rejects. And so they would find it harder to think that they could even be received well in these types of spaces, let alone to actually compare and to answer any of the actual real questions that go beyond statistics. What do they bring to the table? Many times, if they are just going to work their way through life, it's not exciting enough for a woman who does already have her education and her home, if that's what she wants or if she rents. So the conversations about standards did have to go towards what men are talking about. And in this standard, it's on protection, not running from the conversation, although one man can be given 2 minutes and receive less than 3 sentences. They'll have panel after panel after panel, finally addressing what we told them must be addressed. So that's why I would consider it Black excellence in journalism from the B1 network, whether they want to give us those kudos or not. So we got Mo, though. We do have Mo. And this next project is a more recent project than Polite Tink. Let's see. While I'm in my transition, I do want to give a shout out to Astro Vibes for the compilation of beats that I was able to license. And there is an irony as well, because I do use Wondershare Filmora. And so I know many people said that they noticed that there was a hack on Sin G's page or whatever. And that's been happening for like 5 years. They've been targeting her specifically. And so my support for her and her platform is still unwavering, because I do see that there's that trifecta that happens where she is raising awareness, she's providing additional resources and access to information that otherwise would not be available. And in the last pillar, she's enabling donations for Zayek's Institute up there in Harlem, but does have a more national or international curriculum. And so with that, I do give that salute and that tribute. I do use her content quite a few times. Oh no, this ain't the one. Oops. Let me double back. Open. What is a more recent one? Oh, open recent. There it is. All right. This next one is, I have 3. I'm not going to do Princella. I'll do Princella third. This one is a lot shorter than that first one, but it still deals with the same context. Let me give a couple of shout outs before we transition. HT Baldwin agreed. B1 is on it. Hey, we got work to do. And it's been a while since I've been on, so y'all rock with me. And I know some people can come back later and see the segment. I put in some work on it and just making sure that there were some screenshots and things. But yeah, we are waiting on a guilty verdict. I'll give deeper insight into how I actually feel about that guilty verdict. But yeah, that's what we're waiting for. All right, let me get to the presentation mode. I'm going to be sharing the screen with the audio. This side. Share.
If your baby daddy say take that shit off, take that shit off. If y'all got that type of relationship. Now, okay, so listen, come around here right quick, and then we're gonna get back to this conversation. This is what's not uncertain. What's not uncertain is that we live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother of his kids to showcase her booty cheeks to please others.
So you want to do this task?
He gets that.
He's full of shit.
Now look.
All right, so back on page 10, Mr. Nowak, it'll be reset for plea 9/6. Can we set it for 10 a.m.? Is that all right, or just?
Yes,
all right. 9/6 for 10 a.m. for plea. Terrace, you're going to take possession of Mr. Nowak's passport and then do a notice of compliance that you have it.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Victim was the daughter of a woman he was romantically linked to. Defense attorney David Terrace says his client is innocent.
Once the evidence is produced, that he is going to be exonerated.
I want to make it sound like people are defending him because you're making bad arguments.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about him.
Like somebody's defending
what
the fuck he doing, and nobody give a fuck about him. Well, until
I got a question.
Donna, you're being limited in your thought.
So yeah, not guilty, nothing else.
According to the police report, Nowak, a motivational speaker and author who lives in LA, asked the woman if he could take her daughter to an after party at a club in Miami. The report states Nowak took the teen to his hotel after seeing that the club was closed. Police say the suspect gave the teen alcohol and started dancing and touching the teen inappropriately, groping her breast, in her thighs, and buttocks. It goes on to say Nowak tried to force the teen to perform oral sex on him.
I am the love that hate created. If you love a good plot twist to a story, Los Angeles, come to World Los Angeles tonight and celebrate with me. Miami, then pull up on me in Miami this Friday on the 7th at Vendome. We're going to have the city on tilt.
Intoxicated and possibly on drugs with severe swelling on her mouth and lips. In later stage, Nowak told the mother not to call police because it would ruin his career.
Brother Polite
Nowak was served with
in
the
Warwick,
DNA
Los
warrant in
Angeles.
June and
He said,
surrendered to
much love and
police on
appreciation
Monday.
to my team in
Terry
LA. We
says the
all
police
love a
report
story
is
with a
only
good
an allegation.
plot twist. If you're going to mind my business, pay attention. Talk to me nice. And that's why Smash was saying, talk to me nice. So he's basically telling everybody, look out, because he doesn't want this on camera tomorrow that he pleaded guilty.
What's
He
up, family?
already
This
took
is your
the
man,
deal.
not your boy, Gold Black to Africa.
Hold on, fam. We got somebody new trying to ask a question. Got somebody new up here. Let her talk.
Since when has what a woman have on or is wearing or not wearing automatically the assumption is that she's a whore? She's a whore.
For men, you asking, right? You asking us men, right? Since day one.
Always. Like
I know y'all don't want to hear that, but you asking men that question, right? Now listen to women tell us what we think, Pastor. Watch this.
Is that this is crazy? I'm gonna sit back too. I'm gonna sit back too. Because
I don't know why nobody. I'm glad I told my daughter this. I'm glad I talked to my wife about this.
I told my sister this too.
This is not a game. This is the reality. If you're walking around looking like that, there's going to be an assumption that you're going tonight, right now.
My issue, Judge, is that there's no stay-away order on the case yet. That's why Your Honor asked the defendant to be present. I also am very concerned that the defendant has been essentially terrorizing the victim. I mean, the victim's 14 years old.
Been advocating against this shit for years. Fuck what Sonetta and his people have to say, saying I'm a fraud because I used to deal with Shaka and all that shit. My story has been consistent. I don't drop receipts. I've shown that as soon as I found out that the HOK was affiliated with all this bullshit, I stepped away. So I don't know who you talking about, Linda. You must be talking about Sonetta's people like Chris Harris. People who all of a sudden acting like they care about the case. But I stood behind that baby story 100% as soon as it was announced.
And there's been a lot of...
Since the arrest?
Since the arrest, Judge, he's been very communicative on, he's been very vocal on social media, on, there's been videos of the victim drugged by this defendant leaked online.
So, but you do realize in rape
why do women call hookaboos hookaboos? Let me ask you a question. Why do women call hookaboos hookaboos?
Let her rap herself, bro. Let her disrespect me, bro, with this shit. Go ahead and say that shit.
I didn't call anything hooker boots. I don't.
Go ahead and go down that path you was finna go down. Go ahead and say that shit.
Your Honor, on this case, we do have DNA showing that the defendant's sperm was on the victim's clothing.
Your Honor, may I ask why any of this is appropriate, considering no motion has been filed?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't like being ambushed with all of this. This is
Nor do I, Your Honor. This is entirely inappropriate.
People use that explanation and that excuse for rapes.
I ain't no mother. You put rape culture on me?
If in fact the state was seeking a motion for pretrial detention, they should have done it. I mean,
Judge,
now as far as
I'm
the
not
stay-away order is concerned, I can certainly do that, but I just can't go ahead with allegations from the state without giving notice to the defense. I mean, certainly I would hear it, but I can't do this in a vacuum like this. So the only thing that I know that this was reset for, which was advised to me the last time, is that the stay-away order was not properly presented, and I'm ready and able to do that at this time.
I didn't put that on you. I said, how is it different to automatically assume a woman is a whore just because of what she has on?
Judge, you are the first appearance, Judge, regarding the information that was filed, Judge. He was charged with a total of 6 counts, Judge. And they're different. They're all different from the charges.
Again, Your Honor, excuse me, I have to interrupt. This is entirely...
Hold on. Mr. Terrace, hold on. Let her finish. Just let her finish. I'll allow you to make your argument. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
If he wants to hear that himself, maybe he's that close to Polite that he wants to give him the benefit of the doubt. And maybe he doesn't understand that Polite is lying to him. All right. Sometimes we're blinded by certain things. You know what I'm saying? And that's because I'm telling you, Sarnetta is a ride or die dude for people who in Jamaica would say him check for. That's how he is. All right, but let's not put whatever Polite has done on Sarnetta. That's all I'm saying. All right, everybody's open to their own opinions, but let's not do that. All right. Let me just do this real quickly for the family. And tell y'all what. Give a recap again for those who just joined the live stream, so you could know what exactly happened. This was minutes before the minutes before Polite name was called again. They wanted nobody to hear what was going on.
Had a very good fourth round.
Oh, James wobbled back, an exchange of punches. Lipsy with more power.
Well, he threw a left hook, which is not the best punch to lead with against the southpaw, and dropped his right, and Joe Lipsy came over the top of a left hook and just hit him with another left hook.
He ripped a left hook to the body. James was up on the ropes. He got his hands up high, and now Mitch Halpern wants to talk to the two again. Oh, man, that was a ripping left hook to the body that Lipsy landed with James against the ropes.
He has been charged with 6 counts. One of them is the same, but there's 5 additional counts, Your Honor. Your Honor does have to set bond on those counts. And then the stay waiver has to be set. I will be filing a motion to increase bond.
She never said you were.
I never said you
You're
were.
implying, listen,
No, I am
if
not.
assuming an ideology does not assume a behavior. The correlation you're making. Because hold on a second, identity, man. Because men assume an identity to you does not assume a behavior of us. Sometimes niggas say, well, damn, that bitch is nasty ass hoe. I'm gonna walk the other fucking way. Pastor, you got to hold on a second, fam. I'm gonna walk the other way on your whole ass. I can't do this rape call. Like, I'm not a rapist. So nothing I say applies to rape culture.
Those charges were higher charges and they were downfiled. Doesn't matter that there was more charges that were listed on the information. These are downfiled charges. Mr. Nowak is out on constitutional bond. There's no motion pending before this court, and there's no need for Ms. Garcia to just ambush us with additional information that she feels the court and the media in her speak should hear. So we are entirely prepared to address the motion that's before us. Not another word needs to be said regarding a motion that's not pending before this court. We do and are prepared to address the no contact situation today.
Okay. Now, first things first. First thing I have is I have information that's been given to me by the court.
I don't know
on
rape culture from a simple
3 days ago. And again, I
Okay, so what's the level of clothing that is appropriate for a woman to wear, in which she will not be looked at as a whore, and that she will not be looked at as she's asking for it, or that she deserves it?
Covering your behind.
Okay, that a minister, you're covering your behind, but they still claim you're asking for it.
That's a start.
But they're still saying you're asking for it.
It's not saying you're asking for it.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
People are saying, I can't run. Like, no, man. Gas pipe, If you want to make yourself a target, make yourself a target. Man.
5 is a first-degree misdemeanor, and 6 is a third-degree felony. So, have all of the bonds been addressed at the time of the arraignment?
No, Judge.
Okay, well, that's what we need to do as far as that is concerned. And I will. What was he out on previously? Let's just start with that.
If ever we needed,
He was out on count 1 and count 2 for $10,000 each, and then count 3 on the information was a misdemeanor, so that was $1,000. So right now he has a total of $21,000 bond.
we're gonna set up a real
So
series
1
of
and 2.
shows
So
during
what
the
was
course of
added
time.
in the information?
How even our
So
body frame is getting smaller and
the
smaller. Our
counts
shoulders getting
1
coming in
through
out. Hormonal.
counts 1 through 4 are all second-degree felonies. Those were not on the information on the
We're not originally charged?
Correct.
But nobody's saying that.
Hey, man,
but think about the reason why. No. He said the answer. He said the answer right there. On a woman, no matter what she wears, but you have to the answer.
I can't believe this shit.
But no, he said the answer. You're gonna make yourself a
I'm
target.
moving far away, farther and further away from this shit.
You're gonna make yourself a target. So obviously, somebody's pursuing that because you're a target.
Also, Judge, count 6 is interference of custody. That one also was not charged. Count 5 was charged as count number 3 on the arrest form. So that one should stay at $1,000.
Right, so just give them some time to process you. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. I passed a couple cases.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Rapp is present.
Yeah, Michael
That's
Nowak
as to
on
that
page
issue.
10.
Anything
Here we
further
go.
on that issue, and then we're going to get to the stay order.
Good morning, Your Honor. David Ferris on
So,
behalf
Judge, I
of
do
Mr.
think it's
Nowak.
important to
I'm
note
sure you all
that he
aware
is
that there's a lot of
California
folks on
resident.
Zoom. on this
So I would
case.
ask that Your Honor consider that when setting the bonds. Are these standard bonds, Judge?
Sure.
I do not know what is considered a standard bond on these, but these are the bonds that the court's going to be giving.
Okay. So no, Judge, I'll be filing a motion to increase bond due to the facts of the case. The other, in addition to the bond, Judge, it's just a stay away order I can bring you the rest today.
Understood. All right, anything further from the defense as to the bonds for right now?
Your Honor, I don't see that the state has laid any grounds for why the bond amount should be increased. We
Well,
believe
we're not
that.
there yet. We're not there yet. There's no discussion right now. That's not what's before the court. The court just is setting bonds on the new counts.
These counts are down filed. I just want to make that clear from the record, even though there's more of them.
Understood.
So but we would object to the entire bond amount increasing, considering these are down filed charges.
The objection is noted.
Other than that, no.
All right, as it relates to the stay away order, okay, so apparently these are minors.
Where
If I can have the defendant sworn.
noted or where she noticed the victim
Mr. Nowak, can you unmute yourself?
was severely intoxicated and possibly under the influence.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Okay, so you can put your arm down. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Context outside of what was actually meant. What was meant by that, you're making your target. You're making your. I don't agree, but he's saying you're making yourself a target to be approached for in a sexual fashion, not in a violation fashion. Like, I don't think violation needs to be added to the conversation to make the point.
Right.
That doesn't
But
need
here's
to
the
be
thing,
added to the conversation to make the point.
But here's the
Right.
thing, men don't, when it comes to, especially if we're talking about Hollywood actresses, men don't respect them more just because, men don't respect women more because they're covered in clothes. The men that are going to sexualize women are going to do it anyway. So I don't see where this clothes argument
and
is.
that's why I asked, what level of clothing? Give
Exactly.
us the
Like a turtleneck?
respectability. You know, do we need to wear the burqas?
Nah, man, don't wear shit, man.
Like robes or,
Don't wear
you know.
shit, man.
He heard it, and then he texted to me, and then I came on and told everybody. But this actually live stream was from Smash Rockwell's YouTube.
Michael Eugene Nope Jr., born August 10th, 1983.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, so you are currently charged under case F21 14438 with several counts involving a minor victim. And the minor victim is identified as T like Thomas, S like Sam. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
No drugs. So the mother noticed this. The victim and a severe swelling on the victim's mouth and lip area. Okay. The defendant, Nowak, told, the mother not to call the police because if she did, it would ruin his career, which we've seen why he's trying to get out. It says here that against his wishes, the mother transported the victim to the hospital where she disclosed the sexual battery. And this says the victim, and it gives the initials, was transported to...
Sir, you are ordered that you can have no contact with TS. And when I say no contact, that means no direct contact or indirect contact. Indirect contact includes you cannot communicate with this individual via social media. You cannot call.
Someone I need to satisfy every need, 'cause I don't see nothing wrong. A little bit of bumping, grind.
You like the fucking Three Stooges. We could eat a dick, bitch. They knew better. They fucking each other's man, bitch. Why you don't post it that way?
I knew better. Fuck out of here. Some bitch with that pussy ain't got no brain? Is that it? I gotta take responsibility for their pussy? Is that it? Fuck you, ho. I gotta take responsibility for their pussy. Telling me I gotta take responsibility for what Nicole does with her pussy and what her daughter does with her pussy. It's my
Wow.
Dang. If out of here, all because
that's crazy.
You know hold on. You speak to a mother and a daughter, and you knew the daughter from she was 10 years old. There's also a clip, another clip.
I fuck other mother daughters. You don't see them saying no shit like this all over the internet. You don't see them trying to destroy my name. Because you know why? Because they wasn't trying to be stars.
There's also
these bitches are still trying to be stars. That's what y'all don't realize.
It's shot to just say.
She's mad because I stopped putting her in my music videos. The few music videos I did do with her, I started taking them down. And then they saw me get married to somebody who the fuck.
He slept with other mothers and
daughters. Yes. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. This is the problem now.
We don't know. Exactly. That's my point. Yeah. So we can't say he was looking at her in a sexual way from she was 10. He may have, but we can't say that. Yeah.
Yeah. To be a balanced judge, you gotta remove your own personal feelings and be objective.
That's what I'm saying. But what we can agree on is when he thought she was ripe and when he thought she was ready, yes, he then did it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Sister JV Dessalines, what's up?
6, see me confirm Thursday
Confirmation.
for sure.
And scarf. And what was said back then was after it took place that's how he wiped off. So that's why I say like all of this is coming out now. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna throw up.
Okay,
Rose, talk to him nice.
All right, and so that one was real heavy. Thank you for putting that trigger warning up there for them that are still in the chat rocking. Super heavy, right? Super heavy, right? I know they wasn't ready for these conversations. These conversations are pushing them, and they're not supposed to. They should have never been comfortable with these type of folks around them and their messaging. Until their messaging can be challenged internally, we still have work to do. So silence wasn't it. There was a three-peat because the most recent one is Princella. And so that one is a little bit longer once again, but it was the new person to go over there to the House of Consciousness and challenge. And so we're going to see where that one goes. I did bring him in. Ooh, yeah, that one gives me chills, but not as much as the closing of Michi X though. But yeah, that one gives me chills as well. But y'all see what it is, man. Y'all see what it is. Whew. All right, so let me cue up this other one. With that being said, give me a sec. Escape. The import, just open project, which is recent. And that one was actually titled Kiki Does Not Have to Be Polite's Type of Wife. So it was titled Kiki Does Not Have to Be Polite's Type of Wife, because there was a conversation that happened where having the open panel brought on some of that energy that does still want to be corrective. And while the person that we assumed to be a woman came on with that energy and tried to direct it at Taz exclusives, that married man has actually gone above and beyond to bring us the real journalism on that back end story. I mean, they went all the way out there, and they continue to take a hard stance on principle that will not get the clicks and views, the one that will get you most likely banned. And so that energy that the woman brought on, while it was misguided, I still understand that energy is necessary. It would have been better aligned with what we're going to see here coming up. And I don't know how many people are familiar with this other person, but let me shout out Tanya TKO. And then there was another one called like Zulu Channel or something. There was where I got the primary of that information. I know Garfield's podcast was another one that put out that juxtaposition with Shaka Amos. And yes, he did say for himself that wasn't the only mother-daughter sexual experience or something along those lines. And so, yes, they are wild over there. And so standing on principle against a group that has that as they think that's okay. Yeah, it's not going to be an easy road. But let me see, oh, there we go. Your browser has blocked your screen. Click on the screen icon in your address bar to allow access, then reload the page. Wow, that's crazy. Hopefully that's not still going. All right, well, I got one more then. Whether they allowed it or they disallowed it, we'll see when they turned it off. And or maybe we won't. But on this one, it's about 30 minutes. And so we're going to let it rock out. Like we said, it's not okay. When we were challenging the manosphere, all I said was ban that bitch ass nigga Ramil. They didn't do that shit, so they just continue to run up the numbers like it's an economics game, selling pages and channels and things back and forth, while the channels that do try to stand on principle and provide a consistent platform that's contrary, those can get banned. Man, silence isn't enough. And so with that, I got my third in this series, this reaction video Drill-A-Thon. Thank you for those who have been reacting with us during the live stream. Be sure to hit that like if you haven't yet. Journey with Karen, salute. And then let me see here. Present, share screen. This one with the audio. And then I'll start off like this. Gotta mute because it will echo.
Number. So are you sure that you ain't? No, sir. You just came up with a number. Are you sure you ain't attracted to 14-year-olds? Because I never even said age.
Listen,
I'm reading your subconscious mind, baby.
You're talking about children.
Why you didn't say 9 years old like Muhammad with Aisha? Why you didn't just go to 9 years? Why you say specifically 14? You sure you ain't never been attracted to no 14-year-old?
No, just like I said, never. Okay? Never. I got 14-year-old grandkids. Now I see why people say, yo, Sarnetta, this is the female Kevin Samuels on the flip side of things.
You know, I've been out here.
We need you.
That's the definition of insanity. Something must be wrong here. And then paying attention for years, starting in 2015, 2016, I noticed something about the pro-black community. I say, this some bullshit. You ain't that damn important. The black male wants to be the center of attention just because I'm black. These niggas really think that my whole damn show and my whole spiel is about them. This dude that we talking about right here, this dude that's talking, he is not black. This is a worldwide issue, nigga. You are insignificant. I want you to understand. You can run around here crying and shit. This motherfucker running around here crying over a YouTube page. This nigga fucking crying and shit because you got your wrench took, my nigga. Your wrench took. You got your wrench took and you crying. Man, I worked so hard and the wrench again. Nigga done took my wrench. I can't believe, nigga, I'm watching this nigga right now. Nigga talking about me.
Shut up, nigga. Go drink some fucking water, nigga.
See, one of the greatest tools to brainwashing and controlling the nation is to make people think that their decisions and their behaviors are their choices, when you already have made the choice for them. Most people are rolling on autopilot, and they're rolling off a social program. We have a problem living with you because you suck the life out of us and you bring us headaches. You are absolutely right. We have a problem living with you. We can't live with you. You are 1,000% accurate on that. From the High Power Podcast, my gift to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so none of these women have critical thinking abilities. They're only responding to stimuli and copying what they see that's in front of them, okay? Now, who created this image? The woman didn't create this image. So a man is not going to be worried about the past because it's all about who have you become now? Who are you now? A male who is looking to take something from you wants to know what happened in your life so I can know how difficult it's going to be for me to take what I'm trying to take from you. Men have intentionally kept women out of the biological sciences so that they could cover up the truth about the power of the woman.
I feel like that's not every man. That's just that's just like a high percentage of man, but not every man is built like that.
I never said 100% of anything. You know, if you into math, you know, you have this thing called the standard deviation curve. Right? Yeah. Standard deviation curve is basically a standard distribution of a sample population. So in the middle of this bell curve, you have 68.2% of the population that is average, okay, the median. That's the majority of people. So if you take 68.2 of the majority of the people and then you go backwards, baby, it's 80-something% of just a standard population that's average and below. The average male is average and below. All of y'all got testosterone, every last one of you. And testosterone has an effect on y'all's brains. Choose yourself, ladies. Choose your goddamn self.
Let her finish, Apostle. I don't want you to overtalk.
That is what you said. Lady, anybody in the comment section, is that what he's saying?
No, y'all can clear it up what I said.
Because I know that's what you said.
You wasn't listening.
Yeah.
Apostle, hold on. I'm going to let you respond, but I want to bring on...
I want to know...
Let me respond.
Apostle, shh. Hold on,
Apostle,
sweetheart.
you got to hold on, brother. Hold on.
Ain't no need to, get your panties all in the bunch. I just asked you a question, baby. Listen, how old were the virgins that was so easy to get before all of this law enforcement or this freedom that women got and they not virgins no more? How old was they?
All right. My reason for bringing up virgins was because you brought up how that's all a man wants.
The Bible is such a messed up book because it has blurred the lines with esoteric occult information and human behavior. The nature is blended so much. It's called the 10 Commandments. Now we know this actually came, those know that, right? But why did they flip it into commandments? Because the male does not listen. He is not a full human being, okay? He is a half of a person because he does not have access to the feminine side. So the male, you can't get through to him.
But I tap into my feminine side. I know I got the feminine side. I do my best to tap in to my feminine side as well.
Normal distribution curve. My book, right, The 5 Components of Love, this is where it starts because women were not created to look for love. Women were never created to seek love outside of themselves. Women were created to be loved. And Men conquered them and forced them to depend on men. So women outside of their nature have become extremely codependent. So in order, when you run game like me, it's all based on game. And then you wonder why I have my book called The Game, 41 Shades of Men, The Pursuit to Subdue and Use You. If your ass ain't bought the book yet, then you tripping.
Yo, this is Princella the Queen Maker, also known as Auntie from Fresh and Fit. Yo, I just did an interview with real life street stars. Go ahead and follow.
Men mark their territory. The higher your body count is, the less likely he can bond you and bind you to him as his property, right? Men are takers by nature. They take energy. That's what they do. Quantum entanglement, the theory of entanglement, is that an electron, right, is the feminine. The electron is the feminine. The proton is the masculine, right? When you look at an atom, okay? Electrons carry a negative charge, and electrons are unpredictable and they can move and be anywhere at any time. So the mechanical theory of entanglement basically says that one particle can literally split itself in half and go 4 light years away. And when one particle makes a change, it instantly makes a change in that other particle that's 4 light years away, because distance don't really exist, right?
Because hold up, because women also lie, don't they? Women, I would say women lie just as much as a male lie. And I would say, what lies do they tell? Sometimes they don't come out and tell a lie. They might tell a lie putting on a fake butt. They might tell a lie putting on some fake breasts. They might tell a lie putting on false eyelashes.
Whoa.
Then when you get home,
that's
you
it.
take all that shit off, and you be like, hold up, this ain't the woman I met in the car.
Whoa. You just telling me.
Be also false.
No,
Yeah.
because all you telling me is that the male is fundamentally retarded. No, he is. Because how the fuck you can't tell if some shit is fake? Because I can tell, but I know why they can't tell. Because scientific study shows that the male can't even decode facial expressions. The male don't even have the brain wiring to even decode a person's facial expressions. So I can understand why he think fake lashes is and makeup, which is clearly on a person's face. I can see why he thinks that's a lie, because he's functionally retarded.
No, I'm that guy. I know I am. Just sit in silence and watch. Sit in silence. Just understand, you did the things to yourself, bro. No one did nothing to you. You did it to yourself. You think you can just go to people's pages and shit on them and disrespect them and nothing happened to you. You do this, homie. So sit on the sidelines and cry about it. I can't believe a nigga done put me on the sideline. All my life I was watching BFTV, and I can't believe I was one of his first subscribers, and the nigga done me wrong. And I'm getting... Shut up, nigga. Shut up. Shut up. Nigga done me wrong in all my lives. I swear to God, in all my lives I've been watching BFTV. I didn't even know the hell music. Shut up, nigga. Shut up.
Like, she was trying to manipulate me. But after getting on this conscious shit, right, I ended up running into this dude, meeting this dude who was in the Nation of Islam. I'm in my early 20s now, trying to get into some wisdom or whatever, right? So I'm thinking I done rolled up on this dude who got some wisdom in the Nation of Islam, and because I done been introduced to it, I'm thinking this is the right way to go, right? Well, make a long story short, I ended up being pimped into some polygamous shit with him and this chick, and they ended up taking, both of them ended up taking about 40 grand from me.
And his name is...
And leaving me without nothing. Messed up my credit and all that. Now, this is in my early 20s. So I'm being shown some shit, big time, right?
5 minutes later.
I go back and I end up analyzing this stuff, right? So then I'm like, because I'm a business person. So after I get out of that, I move forward, and then I start working with this other dude to do some charity stuff. He wants me to go into partnership with him to do the charity shit. So I'm doing all the work, right? And I put the business plan together and everything. This dude starts getting jealous of me because it's like, he'll say something, I'll do something, and he see what I'm doing, and he'll be like, you think you smarter than me. You think you smarter than me. I've been doing this too for a minute, and so he's getting jealous of me. He got so jealous of me that one day he thought it was just justified to start arguing with me. So I cut the argument off, and he rages up, breaks in the room that I closed the door on and locked the door, and proceeds to put his hands on me because he's upset. Oh, shit! See, these are the experiences that I have had with males outside of working with them. These experiences have continued on. Pursue you. Choose yourself, ladies. Choose your goddamn self. Stop choosing men over your damn self. Right? It's real deal Holyfield, which is the reason why you're here, because you know that in your soul. So, I'm the pimp in this motherfucker. Yeah, I'm the pimp over here. And all the ladies over here, these my bitches. Here's the thing. You either gonna let me pimp you, or you gonna let their ass pimp you. If you let me pimp you, you're gonna be free and you're gonna be happy and you're gonna be able to have the confidence, no depression, no worry. You ain't gonna have none of that if you let me pimp you. You let them pimp you, you gonna be like you been. Confused, going to therapists, taking fucking drugs, right? Taking charges for motherfuckers. Basically their own behavior and what they intend to do. So they want y'all to listen to them so that they can drain you of your value. If you listen to me, I'm going to add to your value, right? I'm going to turn you into a queen if you let me. So here's the thing. In life, you got three options, ladies. You can be a pimp, a hoe, or a trick. You can be a pimp, a hoe, or a trick. You can be a queen, you can be a slave, or a concubine. Now, since y'all are all students, because in order to be a leader, you must be a follower first. The greatest leaders were followers first. It get to talking, right? See, that's why I nature, sir. Conscious mind to tell you for me to win this stuff, because all you got to do is let a male talk, and you give people enough rope to hang themselves, right? Where did he go? He went straight to sex, didn't he? He went straight to sex and talking about virginity, right? Let me tell you, because that's all males here, because that's all they focused on, right? See, the subconscious mind to tell you who a person is. It get to talking. Right? See, that's why I was sitting up here smiling. He went straight to virginity. And let me tell you, what's nature? Let me give you the definition of nature, sir. Nature is the path of least resistance. When you go to some water and you create a water dam, that is a man-made structure to control the natural flow of water. Law and law enforcement controls humans' nature. So, what has occurred is men depend on laws, law enforcement, rules, and regulation to control women's sexual power in order for them to get what they want. And guess what you go after? You go after picking what your heart desires. And what your heart desire? Children. Because that's the only likelihood that you're gonna find somebody that's a virgin in abundance, kids. And that's what y'all's religion preaches, them Hebrew Israelites. Once she get a period, she is ready to procreate. Y'all are pedophiles, and all that shit y'all talking should be stripped away. And I'm gonna raise these women up and they gonna stop listening to you. They gonna protect their children from you. That's all y'all think about is fucking. They fucking thoughts. They have a hard time living in abundance. They are in perpetual scarcity mode. They want to possess and own and control women. They don't want women to be free. This prevents you from ever loving. The male cannot love because of his nature and his perpetual need to control and possess women. It makes it impossible for him to love. So how can you make love when you don't even have a fucking concept of love? So now we got to go into why is he really fucking her? Because his soul ain't based on no love. It's on something else. And that's where my book, 41 Shades of Men, comes in.
All right. Apostle, you ain't got to go nowhere. You can respond. Let me get.
No. Let me respond to that.
No. Hold on, brother. I want to go around
she called
first.
me a pedophile. Let me respond to that.
I don't think she called you.
She said that's all you.
I said that's all y'all think about, because here's the thing. I think Brother Polite
Crying about YouTube, it's sickening, Bella. Queen Bella, it's sickening. It's fucking. I look at these goofy ass niggas and I'm just like, nigga, don't you got a beard? Nigga, you got a beard. Nigga, you got gray in your beard. What are you crying about? You're a fully grown bitch ass nigga. Fully grown. You got extra growth on your bitch ass. Pause. And you out this motherfucker crying over a fucking YouTube page. I know I'm that guy. I know I am. Just sit in silence and watch.
I saw a video of Brother Polite talking to all these Hebrew Israelites, and that's the number one thing they said. That's what the number one thing they said, them Hebrew Israelites. Once she get a period, she is an adult, right? And virginity. Looking for virgins are looking for children. You don't want adults. And so y'all want somebody that y'all can control, and you using this bullshit ass religion to do it, to satisfy your lower nature. That's what y'all doing it for. And I don't want to hear this shit. I don't care what y'all talking about. My audience is women, and I am debugging and deprogramming women from all that stuff y'all talking about. Women, I'm getting these women out this bullshit patriarchal religions. Fuck y'all, God. Woman is responsible. She's 100% responsible for all this shit. You can blame her, but now let me tell you something. Let me tell you what happens when a motherfucker takes responsibility. You start changing shit. See, niggas want to blame women. That's all they want to do. They don't want the bitch to change them. They just want her to accept the blame. I'm stupid. I fucked up. I chose him, and keep on making the stupid ass decisions. No, power comes in your ability to take full responsibility and change the shit that you don't like. And to continue to do the same thing, expecting different results is the high, which is where? Where is God at? High. God, the woman is God. How could, if God was a man, why does it take a woman to raise higher in order for the world to raise higher? The male has never been in front of the woman. Right? The male don't listen. How can a person rise high if they don't even have listening capabilities? That you got to program them like robots, and they can't change. So the male right now is crumbling because we are in the age of Aquarius. Pluto is moving into Aquarius and will be there settled in January 2024. This is a rise in consciousness, a rise in enlightenment. And the male who is stuck in the old age and old paradigm, he cannot change his mind because he is a robot. Train a child in the way that he should go, and when he grows old, he will never depart. These males are stuck and they can't change, and they are upset. I noticed something about the pro-Black community. I say, this some bullshit. Pro-Black don't mean Black people. That don't mean pro-Black. Pro-Black mean pro-Black man. I'm making the woman totally resistant to male manipulation, which will disconnect the two of them. And the males don't like that. And I don't give a fuck.
Okay, we getting ready to open up the line for these questions.
Now I'm gonna tell you now. Make sure you give them, because see, I'm definitely loving our conversation.
Yes.
I'm on.
No, they will respect when they come.
Yeah, because if they don't,
no,
either they gonna drop off or I'm gonna drop off.
Right. And
yeah.
they already know how it is over here. See, that's why I keep telling you they call me a simp, because I protect our sisters, and I believe that they have a right and they have a voice, and I'm just the right one to allow that voice to come through the airwaves. That's why you here. Trust me, you here for a reason.
Yes.
Because you see, you're gonna be able to speak.
Yes.
I'm not gonna cut you off. I'm not gonna stop you. Even though a lot of these brothers, oh, sir, please, we got to stop this. Get rid of her. No. Remember, respect the guest. Respect my guest, because I will knock you off. Either you're going to ask a respectful question or I will knock you off. But before I open it up.
After the last guy I ended up dealing with was a millionaire. And this sucker was envious of me, and I work for you. Right? You're envious of me and you in competition with me, you're sabotaging your own company just to try to fuck with me. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. And prior to that, just before that, I had a friend who was supposed to be my friend try to set me up for a few $1,000s, and all of these dudes call themselves trying to do business with me. And multiple were in this pro-black shit, right? Jason Wilson, that everybody would know and go look up. Jason Wilson, right? The martial artist who speaks on self-control, right? The people like him, right? I'm a big fan of George Patton, General Patton. I'm a big fan of him, right? The average male has no self-control. Hell, even Farrakhan sat up there and said that he was watching BET Awards on TV and the woman was shaking her ass and he didn't like it, but he didn't have the power to turn it off. They don't have.
Hold on, say that again.
I say even Farrakhan sat up there talking about he was watching BET Awards or something on TV, and the women were shaking their ass, and he didn't like it, but he couldn't muster up the power to go change the channel or turn it off.
Wow,
right?
Wow.
The male lacks the ability to control his behavior. In order for you to say that you love the male, their idea of you loving them is allowing them to suck your life force energy dry, so the woman will sacrifice herself for his survival, right? Or she will tell him lies that make him feel better about himself. The truth, if the truth hurt anybody, it's the male, because a good man in a man's eyes is a male who has distanced himself or convinces everybody else that he's distanced himself from this beast that lives within.
All right. Let me ask you this question, because I heard you say this too.
Male is more logical in terms of need fulfillment and survival, because his nature is survival of the fittest. His highest biological aspiration is to pass his genes along. That's it. That's a glass ceiling for the male. So if the male knows that he's supposed to compete for women, so the male is in a perpetual state of scarcity. So he cannot access the realms of the divine feminine or the right side of the brain, because he's controlled and governed by scarcity, which means he has to always find ways to manipulate to get his needs met. And unfortunately for the woman, she is a resource. So sex and food is the nature of the male. If you restrict sex, which is a resource, if you restrict food, the male's brutal nature comes out, right? So women have been brought down from heaven to hell to allow vultures who don't know when the abundance will end, because if you give a male an abundance, because he's programmed and stuck in scarcity mode, he always thinks it ain't never enough. See, I know these dudes. And so when I say that, they know that I'm telling the truth. Let me tell you something. Have you ever heard of Universe 25? John Calhoun's Mice Utopia? You ever heard of that?
No.
Okay, I'm surprised that you haven't, because this was the basis that Margaret Sanger used when she created Planned Parenthood, right?
Mm.
Yeah, the term hood rat come from there, right? So John Calhoun, what he did was he took 4 pairs of mice and took them out of their natural environment. See, the natural environment
I heard you tell that on your video. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I
So
love that story. That's
the
nice.
natural environment for a mouse is to forage for food and expel that energy looking for food, right? But when you take them out of their natural environment where they were expelling that energy and put them in a quote unquote utopia. Now, this utopia is what we would call sociology, okay? Creating the environment, sociology. So you got biology, psychology, then sociology. So what he did was, remember, the 5 characteristics of life is a living organism will respond to stimulus or environmental stimuli. So he took the living organisms, in this case mice, changed the sociological structure, and created a quote unquote mouse utopia. Took the living organism and put it in a new sociological environment and gave them everything. Gave them food and housing. So they no longer had to forage for food and they didn't have to find a place to stay. So what happened? All of the energy that was being expelled in foraging for food got built up in the mice. And what happened? The mice went from 8 to 2,200, reproducing. And as the population, as the space got so cramped in, a lot of them broke off into gangs. They became violent. They abandoned their children. And a lot of them withdrew from sex and reproduction. They stopped having children because Mother Earth is infinite intelligence. Mother Earth is a living, breathing organism. The woman is God.
That's my 30, man. That last one, because she went on there and had the audacity to go up there and use the woman is God. I wanted to end it with the woman is God. And while I may not be as versed on all the astrological dynamics and the interplay that she can incorporate in how she feels, I wouldn't be able to validate it or invalidate it. I thought that she used it as a brilliant in a brilliant schema, I would say, to get his attention, hold his attention, and to demand the respect that his platform otherwise had not shown women, to my opinion. And I know it came as a surprise because she hit them in the stomach with those words that if any of us would have said that, they would not have allowed that stream to go on. If any of us would have said, you motherfuckers are pedos, and as long as y'all are allowing this doctrine to manifest, and that's what y'all pushing, I'm here to tear the shit down. If any man got up there and said it just as flat out as she said it, there would have been immediate pushback. But she was able to pimp her way into a whole conversation despite having made herself very clear on what her intentions was. And so then flipping the comedic science and all of those other things that go way over my head, I was like, okay, well, let me capture it because I know somebody in my chat might find some value in that. From my stance, I don't find as much value in it. It still irks me to my very core. I know the principles that I stand on, and there may be some give and play on when she starts establishing truth in what she's saying to some people. And I don't have as open mind as I thought, because I never would have thought that that would have been on the House of Consciousness, where somebody comes in and advocates what other people have questionably called lesbianism. She says self-proclaimed misandry. She's a part of the Fresh and Fit community. We already know that the manosphere was openly embraced, or the red pill part of the manosphere 2.0 and 3.0 were accepted into the House of Consciousness. He declared that when he said, I'm going to start fucking with O'Shea and Obsidian and so forth. And now we're seeing the evolution of that Manosphere 4.0 play out in real time. It wasn't just a passport dynamic that kind of kept the conversation, the cyclical conversation once again going. It was more than just the passport dynamic. Although the Africa dynamic is needed, I love seeing the planes in the chat when we go across spaces and things saying, look, this level of degeneracy, they do accept that there. When we analyze their laws and what they have written down to be their way of life and culture, we see things that we are just uncomfortable with. And that, compared to the American Negro experience, is they want to brand us, the Black American, as bad, but all other Pan-Africans are experiencing some form of great oppression from, man, come on, man. And then by extension of the plantation conversation, those traumas that we may and may not share with the Pan-African experience are leveraged with this I'm woke conversation. So how woke are they? How woke are they when we're looking at the dynamics of how you treat your wife and your children, and how accessible they have become due to your dogma? Your dogma would have them open and accessible to what you would consider what a man is by age or by law. And when they take those positions, other folks have the right to agree and disagree. I never would have thought they would have been as open to having that level of disagreeability, especially when their dogmas seem to have been not LGBTQ agenda. Right? I put the planes in the chat because I'd be like, one-way ticket. I said they need to go fulfill that legacy of Marcus Garvey. And then I was corrected because when I tried to debate Taz on it, he brought me into this understanding of who actually of the Garveys did actually go to Africa at some point in their real life versus who turned around and was not that. And so to bring that dynamic of Garveyism into the debate, it should have made the conversation better than having a plantation debate. It would have at least allowed us to go from let's say 15, maybe 1920s, if you really want to continue with the Garvey was just doing the work of whoever it was. But our research just doesn't agree. Our research does not agree. It does not agree. And when the research does not agree, we ought to be able to say the research does not agree. That they're conflating a narrative, they're taking advantage of what the Americans actually had propped up here in America, segregated or integrated. Once we get into the 1914s, we're talking about the integrated community, or being able to leverage all of society at as much as we could. And that at least puts it into our grandfathers or great-grandfathers at that, beyond going 6 generations back into the plantation with the Choctaw and the Blackfoot and the Yamasee and all. Like, if we continue to have to keep going back that far for the conversations, the intellectual growth does continue to be stagnated. And while we can, those who do say, all right, well, let's have that conversation, they don't want to hold that line either. They don't want to hold that line either. And so pushing it into the 1700s or the early 1800s, when they say, well, this is what happened in Florida, and this was, I mean, all of these conversations with the quackery seems to keep taking us away from identity today and what we should be doing today regarding the protections or the preservation of culture today. I do agree that victim narrative is being stretched. There's a whole reach making the intergenerational trauma of the plantation applicable. That is an entire reach that most in that bell curve would not be able to identify 6 generations back. They would still be doing the research to validate their own legal claim. Their family may have one or two members who can go all the way back that far with actual evidence, records and things. But again, bell curve as she was using on that third one. I mean, but there were 3 different videos that were trying to capture a sentiment of protection and that protection not being afforded and who's accountable for that. And I hope people are able to, in as much as you were able to see when you come in and out, I know it misses some of the nuances of these type of films. And I'm not the Morehouse brother who created They Cloned Tyrone. And I'm gonna just plug that in there for those who didn't know. The Morehouse, the Morehouse brother who directed They Cloned Tyrone and gets to Netflix. And I heard it was stupid as hell. I ain't even watch it yet, but there are conversations that people don't want to have. And I know that to be true. I know that to be true. And so they are looking for the catchphrases that they can use more conversationally and in their dialogue. I agree. We have to do better at toning it down. Like that dude, Omar Johnson, be saying some catchy shit. Not that you have to live up to it as a principle, and not that you would even agree for what he's standing on. It was like, come on, man. HVAC doesn't take that long. That could have been on somebody's credit card already if that was what was actually holding you back. You're not being transparent, so accountability can't be made. And in fact, it gets to the point where it's like, man, go build your school wherever you feel Garveyism is most needed. Go build your school wherever you feel Garveyism is most needed. It almost gets to that part because he so loves the Pan-African experience more so than he does to not be critical of the Black American experience. And so with that, right, so now it was like Blackfoot. That's like great granddad. Like if your family didn't have anything west of that Mississippi, they was like, okay, yeah, Blackfoot may have, and they may have helped, but that didn't necessarily make them Blackfoot. Now, some of them may be. I am not dismissing people's great grandparents' stories. I cannot do it. They didn't pass these stories down long enough. Just because they didn't take a picture, I'm not gonna hold that against them. It tickled the hell out of me, the Blackfoot part of it, because when I get to looking at them old maps, I'll be like, oh, that's where the Blackfoot was. I see the Native American experience and the co-opting coming all the way down to Las Vegas. If they say Blackfoot, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I could break it down from the Grifton's point of views too, but then I start sounding like I'm quackish. The Creek, I mean, every creek on the map, you could claim it then. Go on and just claim it in cartography and map the people who, and here's what I want to do. And in the way that we evolve the conversation to make it to where we're getting banned less, if we have to have these conversations with these quacks, then whatever it's called, the people who used to draw the maps, since we know that's what we're dealing with, we'll just talk about the maps then. Let's just talk about the map. West of the Mississippi, east of the Mississippi, where they from the Piedmont, the Low, whatever, because the conversation that we would want to have is the one that's getting us banned, and then we have to turn around and we're not the ones that cry about getting banned. At the same point, I don't really care if they turn minds off because I didn't want to talk to them niggas no way. I was the one that was like, Taz, you still want to talk to them? All right, man, it's not good for us. It's not good for us. One day you might stop assuming that there will be some intellectual pushback that comes from it. And yes, I could play devil's advocate and try to play the role of Africa is better for the American Negro, but I wouldn't be able to give a justified claim towards that other than what we already have the ability to do from home right now, which is intellectual property. Advertisements. They want to do the same thing that we want to do today and then. Marcus Garvey's key initiatives were to been to try to militarize whatever it was, could have been militarized over there for some form of unification movement. He didn't get the money for that. So how did you want to build up the community? It was supposed to have been for contracts, contracting to build up. And that's still like streets and things. That flopped. Well, how are we going to ship it over there? Well, can we test some shipping industry goods? He actually did get the blessing of the W.E.B. Du Bois family. A lot of people didn't understand that. While at the same time being able to invalidate the other light-skinned brother, not Marcus Garvey, but Booker T. Washington. But you're going to need Booker T. Washington because he's Florida if you want to go down there. If you really want to get to Alabama or the Panhandle, other than that, you got to come through. And this is just the coast when we're talking about the map. You have to come through Savannah. And if you can't make it to Savannah because you're not making it out of the ports in New York, Massachusetts, where you're going to get that white liberal money, then why are you still talking shit to the Southern Black, where most of the African American population lived, as they so identified, or way before they identified as such? But if they attended the African Methodist Episcopal Church, then they probably had a closer link to the middle class at some point then. When you start looking at structurally what was built in America versus what was built elsewhere. Now, yes, there are mosques that do seem to have some good, meeting spaces, few and far in between. But the Baptist Church, or and we already know that the Roman Catholic Church built the best. And for the many of the Black community that was able to assimilate into the Roman Catholic Church's society and attend their masses and such, many of them had found their way to the middle class way before the 1914s, when the faith-based institution was leveraged as a way to get people towards education or somewhere forward in life. I mean, if it's education is still inextricably bound with, that's federal money though. The states could apply for it. But other than that, who was building it? Private. 1914 private money was different. And I would go into that entire debate about 1914 money, because by 1915, Booker T. Washington is now dead. 1914 will be a good starting point because it's given the NAACP 5 years to actually have their Niagara movement, where they got all the way up north, not all the way up north to like Nova Scotia, but they got all the way up north to have the conversation. These are the same places where Frederick Douglass was trying to get to, writing his songs about. He had made it all the way up there quite a few times if you let the narrative really play out on where he went in life. And so the Popa or Omar Johnson can be the most traveled or the most, reputable name in social media when it comes to what he speaks on. Some would challenge that. 19 Keys would have a claim to say that he is in higher spaces and has elevated beyond the Black church's basements and the meeting spaces that even the Nation of Islam would want to use if they were organizing. Other than that, you got schools and community centers. So dismissing the Negro church, you're going to find now that you have this private that's completely, or supposed to have been separate from federal, but now you're completely taking off 501c3 status to have your meeting places. Where are you going to go in the community to have these meetings where you're drawing these crowds? In America, when you go to Africa, you might find a place in Africa, and when you find that place, it may not meet your electrical standards because the Negro hadn't implemented those changes yet. You have Africans who have made contracts to get electricity there, but it wasn't the Thomas Edison because they didn't get the drawings of Latimer Lewis there. They didn't get them. That patent didn't make it there. AC and DC, they got different electricity. When you get there, you'll find different amenities that might make your experience less convenient. And you can search for Uhuru about that. Or you can ask O'Shea. They'll tell you about your experiences there and what options you have. But there's Pentecostal churches that are everywhere as well. But outside of the Roman Catholic Church, who's going to give you a better venue than the private? And what private is going to give you a venue if your message is Black only? You gonna fuck with them Arabs? You're going to bring it together with gas stations? You think they're going to give you the opportunity? Dubai is open for business for people who do have a good message, but it's closed for people who may have a different message. Dubai may be a good place for him to have a good message. Maybe. But there is a Pan-African community or a melanated community that does have some form of embrace for people who level misogyny like a weapon. They do. They will allow these non-traditional or American traditional marriages to be sanctioned. And he can get as many of them as he wants and not take care of as many as he wants. Now, when it comes to how you take care of the woman after you've had these untraditional marriages, as we saw from Melanie King in that snip, that's going to be different. You can have men running around acting like they have these spiritual bonds with individual women. And then when these individual women call them out on these spiritual bonds, then what happens? And then you want to run, I said Dubai, but just go to Egypt with that shit. Maybe you don't want to go to Egypt. Don't go to Egypt. Egypt doesn't seem like it might be the best place. Maybe Israel. There's a Muslim Brotherhood. If he doesn't want the NOI or the American form, maybe they're not building as fast as he wanted. He could have reached out to Brother Ben X. Maybe they're not building as fast. But 19 Keys would have been somebody who says, Umar, you're not as big as you think you are, and you're not as connected as you think you are. But maybe not him. Maybe Earn Your Leisure is another platform that says we are far more better connected than you are and in a better position on an international scale than your Pan-African message. And with your inability to create one school, you should not be the leader of what we call the Negro's voice. But you can keep claiming that all you want. We know one thing's for damn sure is that, what's that dude name? Michael Noak is not going to be the representative, whether Saw Snake calls that out or not. And a lot of people say I only saw it in one comment where they said Saw Snake I went hard on Saw Snake. No, I don't go hard on Saw Snake. Y'all got me fucking tripping. When he tried to come into our space, I went hard because I was a bit protective at that time. I had to humble myself and realize that that's not my space. It's my space to the extent of, I got moderator rights and I was on the panel alongside it and I ain't like that nigga when he came over. But that does not give me the right to, to just disrespect that man blatantly and in his face the same way that I felt disrespected by his presence. Just because I felt disrespected by the man does not give me the right to, jump on somebody else's platform and disrespect him. But at that time, it felt damn good to disrespect the hell out of Saw Snake when he jumped on the platform. And it felt even more vindicating once I found out later that he then turned around and said, all I got to do is send these niggas an email and they'll be ready to jump on the platform. I was like, yeah, I knew that nigga was on some snake shit. Nah, I don't go hard on Saw Snake. Y'all got me fucked up. When I was on that platform and they were supposedly dropping the information, I was a different voice. I was a different type of infuriated. The same way he can take the conversation and diminish it to eyelashes and fake hair. I feel disrespected by that conversation. I feel like that platform is used the way that he wants to use it. And yes, they're going to continue to monetize the destruction of Black bodies in the way that they see fit. But I stand on a different principle. It's not a grift for me to find at fault something and then say, yeah, no, I don't really fuck with them niggas like that. Here's what happened. And so I put that shit out there like that. I mean, so in 3 different videos, we see what it is. There are other spaces, though. I was going to have the debate about the NAACP versus the Roman Catholic Church, and that was going to be about building actual spaces. NAACP should have been a private, but it was mostly intended as a competitor of the Negro Urban League. And we know that when the Negro Urban League they were propped up off of what Black women were doing in that era as well. And we have to be able to look at what the women were actually, and those conversations I've had time and time again. I've had those time and time again. It's not pandering, it's not grifting, it's not Black woman empowerment. When I say, damn, I looked at the data for this time period and these groups were killing it. In the 60s, the women's groups that were actually meeting, when you look at their organizational numbers and how many they were drawing in, those numbers are different when we start saying, well, where were they meeting and how many people were attending? Versus when we look at what the men were doing versus SNCC. And then you go back to the 1914s, it was even better. Those women were on it. And that's not a shot at what Black men were doing. I called out the Black men who were actually doing it when I say, look at the Booker T. Washington or NAACP had 5 years, but those were the light-skinned brothers. The same thing that they considered Frederick Douglass is debatable on how much whiteness he was able to exercise in America. We know in 96, which would have been like 10 years and 20 years prior, or that one generation, he had sons that had joined Frederick Douglass. He says Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey. So in that transition between Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass's sons had actually, pledged, signed up, they joined, they did the military shit. But it's giving a time period that we can actually analyze. We don't want to keep going all the way back to the plantation, but Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey should have been some form of bridge to say, okay, well, what time period are we talking about? Many people want to go all the way back into slavery and let that trauma be the lingering thing when we can show and prove that generation passed forward already. But in order to bridge those gaps, they keep saying plantation and Jim Crow. And so we analyze that and say, well, our data is showing there were African Americans who were doing something different and creating institutions based off this same paradigm. They were using the private sector to do X, Y, and Z. They were using education to do X, Y, and Z. And they were doing, here I am being redundant. I could share the screen on that again, but I'll be here even longer. Facts won't always win. Let's modernize and contemporize the conversation, as we say. And those men who were leaving the South, they were seeing their other opportunities. They were leaving families behind in the South. And I see that happening again today, where that decision is still to be determined whether or not they want to leave where they were raised with their mothers. The protection of 16 to 18 is still going to be our job. Anything less than 16 to 18, while I've been very lenient when I said Africa, but there are other people who ask for castration, like cut it off. And then there are people who say life imprisonment. There are others who say death. That's 4 different things that they're dealing with when it comes to protection. Africa, I thought that was his most lenient. Some said castration. Others said life. And then there's finally those who say death. They don't like it when we say it that plain. They want to run from that conversation and make it about everything other than that. And so now that we got those principles that we stand on out the way, I am B1 Brother Moses. This has been my reaction video, Drill-A-Thon. I thank you, and I'm out.